Man, oh man. Hello, chat. Hello, viewers. Hello, listeners.
Eyes in the chat. What happened to eyes in the chat, JD?
Good question. I
It got
do like that,
replaced
though.
by
Let's
our
bring that
host.
back.
It got replaced by our host.
That is true.
That's very true.
L host.
L's in the chat.
L host taking over is crazy. I hope JD's back today. And Dub and Euro last episode was funny.
Shout out to Dub.
Fire. That was so fire.
That was wild.
Angry Euro versus Dub. That is the matchup I'm always here for.
Yeah, you know, like I'll find a meme for every time Dub and I get into it, and then I'll tweet it, and I'm just making a thread. So I'm 2 in right now. So,
oh, you're gonna have a banger thread of just.
It's going to be fucking hilarious, man.
Oh, I'm so here for that, bro. You guys, in the chat, viewers, you guys have to get on Twitter, bro. If you're not on Twitter, man, that is the spot. Twitter, well, bro, recently Twitter has been so weird for me. I need to figure out how to retrain my algorithm because it has been like depressing on there. And
you got to follow the right people.
Bro, I am so unserious on that platform. I'm like, I need more goofy shit over here because this is just like, it's like way too many like politics lately on there. And I'm like, I mean, I get it because, elections going on right now, but it's just so much stuff that I just do not want to read about or see, bro.
I feel you.
But yeah.
Hey, JD, speaking of elections, it was a couple weeks ago. We were talking about something. Matter of fact, it was MVP voting, and I had said something like, "Everybody doesn't deserve to vote." I want to make sure I clear that up. I do not feel that way. I think every man, woman, and children should be heard. Go out and vote this week. Exercise your rights. You said what?
Children that are 18 years old. Children that are 18 years old.
Well, I mean, even if you're not old enough to vote, your voice should still be heard. I just want to make sure I don't believe in voter suppression or anything like that. I didn't mean it like that.
Thank you for clearing the air, Bobby. What context did you bring this up in? Just like specifically NBA MVP voting?
Yeah, we were talking about, it was a couple weeks ago. My brother had seen it, actually. That's what made me remember it, because he was like, yo, you was tripping. And I was like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. And so I watched it. And we were talking about MVP voting, and I think it was Doug was talking about how the players voted back then. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter. It's all like political anyway. Like, not everybody deserves a vote. And I was like, said something about.
Yeah, but that was within the context of basketball.
That, bro.
Well, I had brought up the presidency before this one, and so I just want to make sure that didn't get crossed up.
Fair. But yes, I agree with Euro. I think in the context, it's come on, bro. Like if you can't take that for what it's worth, like what are we doing here? This is players' choice.
Yeah. I just see brothers out here getting canceled all week, this week, last week. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be on the show as much as possible.
Bro.
Yeah, I think we're pretty. I don't want to say that, but I don't think players' choice is very high on the totem pole of like, the cancellation factor. I don't think anybody knows us. Shout out to the few followers that subscribe to us and like tap in. We much appreciate it, of course, but I don't think we're big like that for us to even have an impact on the society. Not yet, anyway.
Bro, that big of an impact on society is crazy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
Mars, how are you doing?
Put a stop to everything, man. Well, yeah, go ahead, my bad.
I'm fine. I mean, I'm better in the football world than the basketball world right now, based on how my teams are doing in both sports. So, yeah.
Arsenal, right?
Yes.
And they're doing well.
Much better than the Warriors.
Yeah, bro. So I was just telling these guys before we started the show, I don't think that I have watched basketball. Well, I think 3 days ago or so. When was the Celtics Bulls game? 2 days ago?
Yeah, 2 nights ago, I believe.
Okay, so I watched basketball 2 nights ago. But I feel like I have just not watched enough basketball recently, and I've been so distracted by all this stuff going on, and I need to undistract myself and just get back into watching hoops. But bro, the beginning of the season is crazy. Just the standing wise, and I know it's beginning of the year. We're only 10 games in, maybe for some people. And so obviously we shouldn't overreact, whatever. But like Golden State and the Lakers are 13th and 14th in the West. That's weird to see. Utah Jazz sitting at second. That's weird to see. I mean, we all know what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets.
Steph Curry
Sixers.
kicking the bench, kicking chairs and stuff. That's really weird to see.
See, I haven't even seen that.
I mean, I've seen him throw his mouthpiece and hit a fan. You know, that was like, okay.
No, I
okay.
haven't. I meant I didn't see that.
Oh, you
didn't see it. No. I didn't know that he was doing that. I'm here for it though, bro. Show that emotion, man.
We're in a bad place. Yeah. A very bad place.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I can't relate because Dallas Mavericks are doing good enough right now. So,
yo, Mars. So, how you feel about England's chances in the World Cup?
There is no chances, but I'm a be supporting. I'm a
damn.
But
so
there's no chances.
It's like a rough end to the year of 2022, huh?
If I was big on England national team, yeah, sure, but I don't really care that much, to be honest. I just live here. I don't feel much devotion to the national
team. Who do you support then? I mean, same with me in Germany. I like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'll rock with them, of course, if they win, and you know, I might break out the jacket. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's like whatever, you know.
Yeah, I don't really support a national team. I mean, I hope England do well. Like, I'm not wishing negativity on them. I supported them when they made the finals in the Euros, but up until that point, I was like, whatever. But same thing for the World Cup. I mainly support players internationally. Like, if I like you as a player, I'll hope that you do well. It's not really about the nationalism. Sounds like a very bad word to use. It's not about
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not about the devotion to the national team. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to everybody who is a member of the YouTube Players Choice YouTube channel. I see Reginald, who is a member, current member. He asked a question. He said, will the defense skill ever catch up with the offense in today's game?
If the refs start calling the carries and travels like they have been recently, they have a chance. But if you allow the offense to do whatever they want, it's very unlikely.
This is what I don't like about the beginnings of the NBA season, any NBA season, right? Is that the refs call the game so differently. I think they should just be consistent. Like, if you're going to call it this way, period, you know? But I don't like when they are super strict about certain calls and then later down the line, you know, especially like after the Christmas, you know, and All-Star break and all that stuff, they just revert back to like how things were. And I'm just like, what was the point of all that, you know? Because at that point, it just becomes you messing with people, like players and their careers, you know, like you are literally like prohibiting them from like playing how they've been playing, how they make their bread and butter. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I don't like that at all.
They just use players as scapegoats. Like last season, you'd probably say it was James Harden who was like the biggest.
Yeah.
Scapegoat.
Oh my gosh.
This season
Trae Young.
This season is for sure Jordan Poole. Like they're calling him for every carry, every travel. Like I think the last few games I've watched, he gets called for like 2 or 3 travels or carries a game. Like they're ever since that Suns clip where it was the most blatant double dribble, carry, everything. Ever since then, they've been just focusing on him, and I guess they're trying to use him to make the example out of it.
And to be fair, he does travel though. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I just don't like that they're doing it now. Like, why now? And they better keep doing it, and not just him. Like to everybody, if this is going to be the case. But you know that'll kill ratings because
bro,
you know, will be less highlights.
Yeah, people
imagine calling every carry in an NBA game. It's like looking at, if you're an NFL fan, it would be like calling every holding penalty. You know, it's like they hold on every play. they carry the ball every 2 dribbles, you know? It's so weird. But, you know, at the beginning of the season, it makes sense why they focus on this stuff, because this is what going into the season, they're like, you know, points of emphasis. This is the stuff that they learned or, you know, were getting ingrained into their brain to enforce at the beginning of the year. And then they just go right back into, all right, you know, we need to adjust a little bit because we're getting too crazy.
Yeah, they'll definitely loosen up as the season goes on.
Yeah. I mean, they did last season, but also it felt like last season, it felt like there were less attempts at those kinds of plays, you know, where it's like the foul baiting stuff. I mean,
you don't even have to foul bait anymore because now you can't properly close out.
Right.
Like, if you actually contest a guy, like legitimately, right, where you have a chance to like alter a shot or whatever, you know, I think there's a better chance, like more than 50% of the time, you know, or the likelihood that you're going to foul him because of the landing space.
Yeah. Right. All right. Chat, here's the deal. I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you guys to come up and chat with us. We want to have a dialogue today. I want to talk about this Kyrie Irving situation. We'll discuss it a little bit before we start actually bringing people in. But I'm going to drop the link now so that you guys can get situated. Come up and join. Just know that I'm not going to immediately bring people up. And we're going to try and get to as many people as possible because I just want to have a conversation about this. I'm curious to hear your guys' opinions. Curious to hear everyone's opinions up here. But man, is this it's so complicated, so much. Yeah, so much to unpack here. But I wanted to just kind of intro that. I know this is going to be a weird transition, but I want to get to these super chats. But I wanted to let you guys know that boom, link has been dropped. You guys come up, and I'll bring you guys in when we kind of get into this conversation. But let's get to the super chat. Justin Oliver, what do you think of Steve Kerr as a coach in terms of their staff training bigs? I feel like we haven't had a solid big since Bogut. Mars, you can go ahead and start.
This is people trying to give James Wiseman a way out. He's just bad. It's not Steve Kerr's fault. James Wiseman is not good. I tried to say this before the season, and people said he has potential. He'll be okay. He might start over Looney. No, he's not good at basketball. He'd be good on a bad team where you don't have to play with IQ. You just run around with your athleticism, jump and dunk and block shots. You put him in a winning system. He's not a good basketball player right now. It comes from the fact he didn't play any games in college. He hasn't basically played since high school, and people thought he could contribute on a winning level. He can't. He's not good. So don't blame Steve Kerr for the fact that we drafted the wrong person. I didn't think we should have took him in the first place. And now I'm being proven right by the fact that he's a bad NBA center. It's not Steve Kerr's fault. Kevon Looney is a good center. We drafted him at the end of the first round. He's exceeded the expectations of a 30th overall pick. He was good. Bogut was good. Festus Ezeli wasn't good. That's cool. Who else did
Festus Ezeli?
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name.
He wasn't good. And then who else did Steve Kerr really have? Damian
JaVale.
Well, that's not really about. I mean, JaVale had a career like turnaround since he joined us. So technically that would, but I'm talking about just developing young bigs. We haven't had any high draft picks to develop them. Steve Kerr hasn't had a high draft pick since he's taken us. James Wiseman was the first one and he wasn't a good pick. That's not his fault. Any young bigs we've had has been Damian Jones, Jordan Bell, Kevon Looney, all late picks. Like, what do you expect him to do?
He's really sorry like that. James Wiseman is just sorry.
No, he's not. Mars, like I have to come to his defense.
Mars is
I have to come to his defense. Number one, he is super young, meaning like he's basically out of high school, right? And then he has like no experience playing because even in college, I know, but I'm just want to emphasize it because for you to say like he's just bad, like he's just not good yet.
That's my point. He's bad. You
But
just said
Mars,
he's not
wait,
good.
because when I hear bad, it makes it almost.
I'm not saying
like,
he can never be good. I'm saying right
that's
now
what
he's
it almost
bad.
sounds
and I
like.
said he would be bad this season. And
But Mars, just
no.
I might be. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you just kind of switch up the Wiseman take about 3-4 games into the season? Before the season, you were saying it was terrible.
Yes,
then a couple games into the season, you was like, well, I might have been wrong, and now you're back on that. So who's to say in 10 games you're not going to change your mind again?
This is what I said. I said offensively, the first couple games of the season, he was producing pretty well. That's why I said defensively, he's been bad the whole season. I never changed my mind on that. Offensively, to start the season, he was producing pretty well in terms of the fact he was finishing around the rim. That's what he was doing. That's what I was wrong about, because his hands looked good to start the season. Now all of a sudden he can't catch a ball again. His screens are still bad. He's low IQ. So him catching the ball was just
low IQ is crazy.
Him catching the ball was just an anomaly. And
I think in 5-7 games you're gonna be back on. Oh, I was wrong.
No, give him some time. I was wrong saying I was wrong about James Wiseman's offensive production looking decent. Okay. That was a few game anomaly where he could catch the ball, and now he can't do it.
Mars, I've noticed also in our chat that you have been bouncing back and forth in between takes. It's been entertaining to watch. What was the most recent one, Euro? What did he say? He said he said he was on a train, and then almost the next day, I want to say, he said he was off it. Oh, what was it? Man, it is hilarious.
I forget.
I'm not going to go searching for it, but Mars, you've been on one recently. You know that?
Mars doesn't know how to handle the Warriors being
right, dude. He's just, his mind is just jumbled, man.
I'm okay with us not being great to start the season. I'm disappointed in the fact that I thought Jonathan Kuminga was going to be better than he's been. That's because Jonathan Kuminga is someone he wasn't James Wiseman. I gave up on James Wiseman. Jonathan Kuminga is someone I thought who had potential. He hasn't been good to start the season, so that's disappointing.
Ron told us that Jonathan Kuminga's like all-star potential talent in the next few years.
I agree, he has all-star potential talent. It just the second season, I guess, slump you'd call it. Like he hasn't been great to start the season defensively, offensively. He's afraid to shoot the ball, which is kind of a problem. I know he's not a great shooter, but being afraid to shoot the ball is concerning. It's still not a great passer. He's a good athlete, but that's about as far as it goes with him right now.
Where were you on Bol Bol? Because clearly he's having like one of those, I don't want to say breakout year because I think he has a lot more upside still. But he's definitely finding his comfort zone and being a lot more confident within himself and his abilities, and it shows on the court. And so in the very beginning, it was like Bol Bol, like what? Similar to Giannis too. Giannis was scrawny kid that was just in the NBA for whatever reason people thought, and then he beefed up a little bit, and all of a sudden, we're talking about one of the greatest of all time potentially when it's all said and done. So how do you feel about Bol?
Bol was someone who he reminded me a bit, not in the term of play style, but he reminded me of Fonmaker. If you guys remember when Fonmaker came in, that type of project, someone who, if he projects out, he could change the league. Bol Bol reminded me of that. I think I thought he would be a good scorer in the league, and I thought he could be a good help side rim protector, which he is looking like that this season. He's been great scoring the ball, and he's been blocking a few shots. The issue I have with him is him moving on the perimeter is, I'm not sure about it. He's 7'2". I don't really expect it, but that's a concern. And the fact that he has very little playmaking ability in terms of passing, reading the floor, all of that, that's a concern. So I don't see superstar potential with him, but I see a good not stretch big, a good scoring big, I want to say a Christian Wood That's who I would project him to be. That's why I see. I don't see much defensively or playmaking.
Did you watch him? Did you watch him in college when he was at Oregon?
I saw maybe 2 or 3 games of him, and he looked very good there.
The chat thinking that I compared Giannis to Bol Bol is elite, by the way.
Bol Bol, he's about to be an all-time great.
Don't sleep on Bol.
That's fire. That's fire. That's what they got from you saying about players improving.
You want to make a TikTok clip really quick, Euro?
No. Knowing our editor, he's going to clip that up. He'll be like, yes, I got another one. Jesus.
That's so good. So good.
Bol, Bol is nice though. Bol is nice. Yeah.
Well, got a good thing going on over there.
Yeah. I mean, no expectation. You know, it's the greatest thing for a young player, right? They can just go out and hoop.
It's just very experiment. They're running 4 bigs. Like they're starting Jalen Suggs, and then they run Paolo, Franz Wagner, Bol Bol, and Wendell Carter. Is like
Franz is just tall. He's not no big. He's just tall.
Yeah, I mean like 4 6'9" plus guys, and it's like really crazy to watch.
Louis Scola.
So Louis Scola is nasty. I hope y'all not trying to disrespect Louis Scola.
Yeah, I do like Louis Scola. He is solid, but that's the most random name. Like, what are you saying, Louis Scola? All right, Justin Oliver. He said super chat. He said, "I think Kuminga has a higher chance in thriving in that system. I just think it's easier for wings and guards in Kerr's system. Looney took time.
Looney had injury problems."
MC Robinson, JD, are you going to respect the Cavs now, saying they're an 8 seed team, but look at like a top 3 or second best team in the East? God damn it. Why'd you have to call me out like this? Man, is it walk back time? I contemplated walking this take back. I contemplated it. I thought long and hard about it. I'm not going to walk back the take of the Cavs are not going to be what you think they are. And it's actually playing out perfectly because they're tricking everybody. They're tricking everybody, bro. It's the beginning. I'm laughing, but like I'm serious. Like this is the beginning.
Darius wasn't even playing in most of those games though, JD.
That's fine. It's the beginning of the season. It is the beginning of the season. Bro, look at the Grizzlies last year, man. The Grizzlies crushed in the regular season. Didn't really do anything in playoffs. So, you know what?
I mean, Ja Morant got hurt. They could have done something.
Yeah.
But I thought the Grizzlies were good without Ja Morant. So what are we doing here?
They are good without Ja Morant in the regular season. So. Doesn't mean they're going to win a championship without him. If he stayed healthy, maybe they go to the conference finals.
All right, that was a bad comparison. All right, you didn't let me get away with it. Okay, Jesus.
Yes,
let me get away with something. But no. I think the Cavs are better than I thought they were going to be. And like the start of the season is impressive. I'll give them their flowers in that they have looked great to start the season. I will still stand on the fact that I don't think that this is a team that's going to make much noise in the playoffs. I don't see them as an Eastern Conference Finals team. Definitely don't see them going to the NBA Finals. I still stand on the fact that, or the opinion that the Bucks, I think they're still winning it all, and they're 9-0 right now. But anyway, that is all whatever. It's the beginning of the season. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I hope the best for them, but I'm not going to bet on anything. All right, let's segue. We've got a bunch of people waiting in the chat or in the waiting room here. So I want to talk about this Kyrie situation. I want to talk with you guys first, and then I want to bring some people in and have some dialogue. But I want to start off by saying I personally don't know that I have enough knowledge on all the things that are involved in this situation, and I can't formulate, or I don't believe that I can formulate a good enough opinion on this right now. And this is another reason why I want to have this conversation and this dialogue, because I just want to hear people's thoughts, and maybe it will help me kind of grasp what is going on more. But yeah, Euro, go. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on just this whole Kyrie media, everything.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is I think a much more complex topic than what people are actually, how more than what people are actually realizing, right?
Right.
I think obviously, Kyrie, tweeted what he tweeted, said what he said, and everybody's, zeroing in on that. But I think the greater discussion that is being had right now is the treatment of Kyrie as a result of it. And to the people who are saying, like that is justified or whatever, I think the people that stand against that treatment, they are looking at, they're looking at the counterpart of this, like a Brett Favre, for example, right? Who does something super detrimental, right? And that doesn't get enough light in comparison to like a Kyrie situation, right? So I think that's where most people are coming at it. And it's almost like the two opposing, factions of that argument, they refuse to understand each other when it comes to this, and it just like keeps escalating. It's almost like the Black Lives Matter situation. You know what I'm saying? How like Black Lives Matter is a movement. You know what I mean? The message is the message, right? That's always going to be, that's always going to be the thing. JD fucking dipping out his fire, by the way. but then there is the organization, and the organization, being accused of what they're being accused of. And so now that gives, the opposition to that entire thing, you know what I mean? The ammunition to say, oh yeah, that whole movement is trash. You see what I'm saying? And so now it escalates that situation to new heights because the complexities are just all up in there, man. And it's crazy to me, man. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. And I don't like how he's being paraded like that. JD, you and I, we talked about it, man. If Kyrie's saying what he's saying or whatever, and does he deserve to be punished? All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Suspend him, fine him, whatever. But the way that they're going about this, you know what I mean, chastising him the way that, they're doing or whatever, like I just, it's a little bit wild to me. Like, like there's no standard for it, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Bobby, what are your thoughts?
To me, it's not complicated at all. It's pretty straightforward. It's a witch hunt. They've been. So I watched most of the documentary, and honestly, the documentary isn't saying anything that a lot of us haven't heard already. It's something that's commonly taught in a lot of Black communities all over the world. Everybody doesn't believe it. Everybody, there's different religions, whatever, but it's what it is, though. It's a witch hunt. They've been trying to get rid of Kyrie. I think this might be the last of Kyrie that we see, definitely with the Nets, but maybe even in the NBA. And I'm not sure if it's due to this, but I think Kyrie's pretty much done anyway. He's proven already that the NBA can't control him. They don't like that. It's pretty simple as to me. I mean, I've known this for a while. It's democracy and capitalism. They don't mix, in my opinion, and that's what America is, a capitalist democracy, and that doesn't mix. It's, once again, I'll just say it again. I mean, it's a witch hunt, though. I mean, we've seen this movie before. Kaepernick. I mean, a lot of people say he was sorry or whatever, but there was definitely not 30, 60 quarterbacks better than him. He took a knee because he didn't want to see cops killing unarmed civilians anymore. It was, there was that. Muhammad Ali. Just to name some of the ones that we all know about. Yes, of course. I mean, it happens. It happens. We've seen this movie before, and it's not a this isn't a game that you win. You just, and I'm proud of Kyrie for standing on that, because it's life is bigger than basketball, and Kyrie makes sure to let everybody know that every season, and the powers that be, they can't have that. They can't have that. They can't have a black man like Kyrie letting everybody know that you can't, no matter how much you pay him, you can't control him. He's standing on what he speaks on. And I mean, Jay-Z said it best, you know what I'm saying? He's rich as hell, but and at the end of the day, he's still nigga. So,
Yeah. Like, yo, let me I guess for just sake of discussion, I don't want to say that I want to play devil's advocate, but I haven't seen the documentary, right? I haven't read the book. I'm familiar with the messages though, because like you said, that's being taught in in the Black community, at least in the American Black community. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
My question though is, there are some people that are saying that there was a portion of it that denies the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's another thing that a lot of people I've heard before. Now I'm never saying that, but I've heard a lot of things be denied and that we all know happen.
Yeah, like fucking slavery and shit like that.
Yeah.
But you see it, but you do see the outcry though. You know what I mean? Like when somebody, like for example, when Kanye said some shit like, slavery was a choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of what Kanye said was taken out of context though, because when he was saying about the Harriet Tubman situation was that people thought that there was slavery in the South and that by running to the North you were escaping slavery. He was basically saying that Harriet Tubman took slaves out of slavery and delivered them to another form of slavery, working in factories and whatnot. That was my understanding. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I could be, but that's what I got from it. I don't think he was completely right about what he said, but a lot of things are twisted, and it's so fragile that people just blow up when they hear it. And on top of that, now the whole my bad, Euro, just let me just get this real quick. The documentary, now it might have been a portion of that might have denied the Holocaust. I saw a good amount of the documentary. I didn't see that part, but there is times where you can support something or say that you watch something or tell people to check something out, and you're expecting those people to make their own mind up. And everything, there are things that everything in the documentary may not be true, may not be factual, but that's just, am I supposed to not watch any of the documentary? Am I supposed to condemn everything because there was a portion in the documentary that we don't agree with, or that we know, or that we know to be facts?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to me. Like you said, man, like people just not making their own opinion on things. I think if Kyrie has his opinion, let Kyrie have his opinion. Like why is Kyrie so important to people? You know what I'm saying? That it's like, now like the whole NBA world or basketball world is coming to a halt speaking about this. Everybody's chastising this man. Like, bro, like, why does he affect you in that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that the Jewish community may be super upset about it, you know what I mean? Because if they're taking it away, like, I can't tell a Jewish person what's offensive to the Jewish faith and what's not. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my place. It's the same thing. That's why, like, I don't necessarily want to speak on that. To me, this is the same thing as, like, because here's the thing. Everybody knows, like, I'm a military kid, right? Like I'm, I'm a, Black American and German, right? Like I was born and raised in Germany type of shit. So like, when it comes to like Jewish topics and shit like that, obviously there's like some deep history when it comes to that country, right?
Right.
And so there's just certain things that, I don't think I have the right to speak on, regardless if I'm, if I have an opinion on this or not. To me, it's like this. When it comes to like, and follow me on this train, right? If we're having a discussion about the N-word, right? I think white people, they just need to sit that out. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a discussion that needs to be had between Black people. And so if it's about, something like, about like, like Jewish issues or whatever, I think as a German, you should just sit this one out. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that you can say about this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what it is, man.
All Germans wasn't Nazis, though.
That's, I mean, you telling me? Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but what I'm saying is like it's a consequence of a certain reality, though. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah. And like you, and so like you're saying, it's like people are closed-minded even on the other end of the spectrum, right? And so like you was talking about like witch hunts and all this other shit, you can get canceled for some shit that you are like basically an innocent bystander of, you know what I mean, to some degree. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, bro, if this topic is too heavy for you or for anything, like, why do you even have to speak on it? This is why I don't understand like a Shaquille O'Neal or like a Shannon Sharp or any of these people, bro. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything.
They have to, yo, because their bosses are making them speak on it.
But I mean,
and they're not Kyrie. They're not going to stand up and say, "I'm not going to condemn this brother because he does this or that." Like I can believe Stephen A. Smith.
There are ways to go about this shit, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you're too afraid to stand up, you know what I mean, like to your boss, because and like, listen, man, y'all should check out that interview that I did with Craig Hodges.
Oh yeah, I did.
He was speaking on economic lynchings, right? And how he was like economically like just ostracized by, you know, standing up for what he believed in. The NBA got him up out of there. And it's so bad. It got so bad that his son, who is somebody that I played professionally against in Germany, he was nice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was saying that he wasn't getting NBA workouts because of his dad. Because of the decisions that he made in the 80s and in the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, and so I think there are ways where, you know, if you're afraid of an economic lynching, like, you know, I would imagine some of these guys that work at ESPN, right, are afraid of. Bro, there are ways to still go about that where you don't have to speak on this, even if somebody's making you. Like, for example, call in sick. You know what I mean? Call in fucking mental health or whatever. That's, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. You like, this is, and it's not, and it wouldn't be a lie. You know what I mean? Like, this is mentally taxing to me. Like, you just to throw somebody else under the bus because somebody else said so, because you can still eat. Like, it's just so nasty. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
And that's why I say you're right. Democracy and capitalism don't mix very well.
I want to try to clear some things up here, because the chat is getting weird, kind of. And bro, this topic is so nuanced, and it's so difficult to navigate this and have this conversation. And I don't want anyone to interpret this in a way that, like, bro, I'm trying to be as, like, walking on this as well as I can, because, like I said, bro, this is so complicated to me to understand all the things that are going on. I want to say no one up here condones hate speech. No one up here is anti-Semitic. We're trying to have a conversation and trying to understand what is going on.
Bring some of these guys in.
It's so difficult. And I just want to say that because we're getting several super chats. We're getting people in the chat too. And yeah, this is why we're having this conversation, man. It's difficult. Logan, what's up, man?
Yeah. You guys hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good, bro.
Yeah, it was good, man. Yeah, this Kyrie thing, not gonna lie, it's I don't want to say it's disappointing, but it's kind of weird to me. I'm 19 years old, so I started watching the NBA around 2008. So my first experience is Kobe losing to the Celtics and whatnot. So I've been watching basketball pretty steadily, growing since then. And Kyrie was one of my favorite players, you know, coming into the league. And, you know, he was just different. The way he played, the way he acted on the court, you know, he was very poised as a rookie even. You know, it was weird seeing a player like that. And to see the person that he's growing into, it's kind of, part of me is like happy and excited, but part of me is kind of like, it's weird because the things that Kyrie does for the Black community is undeniable. The way he donates, he's generous. He supports the Black community. That is a known fact. He is one of our pillars in the community. I'm 19 years old saying that, and most people around me older say Kyrie, or most of these people. It's players in the NBA that support their community. It might not be in your city, but they support Black people. Like, and we have to realize that. But the way that Kyrie responded to the whole situation is what has me torn. And as a fan of him, and as just, you know, a person seeing it as, you know, as a black man, you know, I'm gonna put it simple, as a black man, just as a black kid. So the you know, him coming out after he posted it and then going to see it, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the documentary mainly because I wasn't gonna pay $11 for it. I'm not gonna lie. But I seen the screenshot of the beginning entrance about denying the Holocaust or whatever. And I understand that, yeah, that shouldn't probably stop you from watching it. But to be honest, when I see something like that in the beginning of a documentary, I'm going to attribute some bias to it. I'm going to think it's biased. And no matter who you are, you're going to think it's biased in some way, even if it's a little bit of bias. So I'm already thinking it's inaccurate. So that kind of makes me want to go do my own research. And my cousin just got home, and he's a you know, follower of Islam, so I'm gonna talk to him about it, you know, a little bit. But man, the way that Kyrie handled it afterwards is what really got me, you know, thinking. And I'm not surprised by the repercussions because, as you know, like ESPN is powering, you know, is powering the NBA basically, and Disney owns ESPN now. So Disney has had a lot of anti-Semitic, you know, allegations in the past from Walt Disney being anti-Semitic. And and you will want to distance, if you're Disney, you will want to distance yourself from anti-Semitic anything every time it comes up. From if it has anything to do with Disney, they're gonna want to get their hands on it first. So that's why when he came out and when he responded the first time, and he didn't really apologize. He just, how can I be anti-Semitic? And I got where he was coming from. I understand him, but that's where the other part of me comes and says, bro, you have to say sorry. Even you have to say sorry, because even if you did not mean to offend anybody, you offended people. You did. It's just the truth of the matter. Same with Kanye West. All the people saying he's not lying, but you're offending people. It's ways to get your point across without, you know, being irrationally, I'm gonna say, ignorant. It's kind of ignorance in the way they're acting. It's kind of ignorant, and I don't know. It's just weird. So when I see he got the suspension for 5 games, kind of crazy to me, and then the apology to the I understand the apology to the Jewish organization that he did and the donations. And then talking to the owner to make sure I understood the repercussions, because the way he was acting, it made it seem like he was just saying sorry so he could get back onto the court.
Yeah, but doesn't it seem like I want to, you know, I want to ask you a question here when you're talking about, you know, the apologizing, because I think across the board now, right, we've seen a lot of like people being forced to apologize publicly, you know, and you know when we're talking about particularly, you know, like I'm talking about like black men made to apologize, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's like, because you're saying, you know, Kyrie's only apologizing so he can get back on the court, like, don't you think that's the intent of the NBA or of the power structure that is like, yo, like, do this so you can get back on the court because we're making money off of you too. You know what I mean? Like, but where do you see the hypocrisy, and like where do you see it stop?
I feel that they're probably trying to get him back onto the court as quickly as possible, but at the same time, what I don't agree with is trying to make an example out of him. Like, I understand it, but to like make it seem like, you know, it's just what he's doing is insane. And the other acknowledgments, I've been seeing the stories about the owners, and the owner just said, I'm not going to get into that. I don't know anything about that, so I don't even want to speak on that. But, you know, it's other things that goes on around the league that gets slapped on the wrist. And to be honest, Kyrie he said something without saying it. So I don't understand why it's, you know, that's why I said the suspension for 5 games was crazy to me. Like, it was weird. So that's why I felt, but I understood why, but I don't agree with it. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So I don't agree with him being made an example out of. I thought the NBA should probably try to work with him, like, instead of trying to condemn him with Adam Silver coming out and saying, I'm highly disappointed. I thought that this should have really been kept under close wraps, should have been really kept close to the chest to try to work with Kyrie for real, because it is all publicity, you know, all good publicity is publicity, you know, they're talking about the league. When Kyrie comes back, it's going to probably be one of the most watched Nets game ever, whatever. Like, but the way that they're going about it, I don't agree with. But it's weird to say that, because I understand it, and to what Bobby said, we don't really live in a democracy. We live in a capitalist republic. Like, it's money over everything. So they're prioritizing the highest dollar. So the fact that they come out and try to, like you said, it is kind of a witch hunt. The put Kyrie out here and to condemn him, and it's publicity for the league in the end, because people are gonna watch and tune in, and they're appeasing majority, you know, of people, you know, by doing this, I guess. But it's, you know, it's weird. I at the end of the day, I think that the outcome for the NBA will all be the same, because they know Kyrie wants to play. The only way that I could see this takes a shift if Kyrie does not play. He doesn't come back. And I would agree with Kyrie in a sense, but like, that would be the only way that the NBA, this would backfire on the NBA, because it would have been, it's no way they could have failed by handling this situation.
Yeah,
I think Kyrie would be more than willing to stay at home.
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to
it. I hope he does, personally.
Example, like, if he really wants to get, that would be but that's what I'm saying. He should have did that at first. That would have been the great way to get his point across. Like, at first, you're like, just right. Like Euro said, call in sick, mental health. Like, oh, I can't play. Like, get out. Like, do something else that hurts their pockets and not your own.
Bro, I am just, situation is just so,
It's very nuanced.
It's so nuanced, and I appreciate you tapping in and sharing your opinions with us. Like I said, man, this is just, it's not an easy conversation. I'm glad that we can have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
My man, what's your name?
My name's Logan.
Okay, Logan, right on. Thanks for coming up, Logan.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say, you know, I don't disagree with anybody. To be honest, I see both sides of the Kyrie argument, you know. So whatever side you're coming from, I just kind of don't really disagree. It's just, I see the points in both sides, and it's kind of tearing at me a little bit. You know, that's why, you know, it's weird for me. It's just a weird conversation.
For sure. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you guys.
Hey,
my bad. Okay, what's up?
Oh no, I was gonna ask Euro a question.
What's up?
Yeah, you guys have going.
All right,
Thank you, Logan.
All right, bro.
All right, so Euro, I see a lot of people are asking how come Jeff Bezos isn't getting any pushback for actually selling and supplying the documentary or whatever on his platform, and all Kyrie did was post a link in the image. Should Jeff Bezos be held more accountable because he's actually peddling the information, or is Kyrie?
I think they should, quote unquote, suffer the same fate. If Jeff Bezos is getting nothing because he, it's freedom of speech and freedom of expression and everything like that, then Kyrie should have that same treatment. But if we go in at Kyrie, then we should be at Amazon's next too, and demanding that shit to be taken down.
Right, because it looks like, okay, you guys can watch it, but just don't talk about it. Don't spread it with the masses. Don't let anybody else know you're watching it, but you're allowed to watch it.
This is the issue. This is the issue that I'm having, like, in general with this, is that the hypocrisy is just in your face, and you don't know what you say falls on what side of the fence. You know what I mean? And so there's always this, this craziness this crazy back and forth going on. Nobody knows exactly. You can drastically offend somebody, and then also, what's the best way to describe this? It's a polarizing topic, right? And everything and anything that you say only can ever be polarizing. And so that's what I mean. Like, dog, shutting the fuck up is also an option, and nobody seems to understand that. You know what I mean? Like you can just.
I
not say
understand that
anything.
very well. I understand that very well.
Yes, you're very good at that, Mars.
Shout out to
Mars, you don't got an opinion on this, Mars?
I have nothing to say that will bring any new insight to the topic.
And that's the thing too, is like that's okay.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying, and I don't want to rope you in, Mars, you know what I mean? So you don't have to respond to this, but I think when I say shutting the fuck up is an option, you can, like, it also means that you could be neutral about it. I think, like I said, I haven't watched the documentary, so I'm not going to speak on this. You know what I mean? I also have, because of my heritage, I have a history with that, I have a history with that group. You know what I'm saying? Even though that's not my personal history, like, I think there's like some sensitivity and some education that I have to have for this. You know what I mean? Like, I should be able to step away from a situation, from this topic, look at that with a sober eye, and be like, all right, man, this is a topic where I'm just not going to have an opinion on it. You know what I mean? And it's just so crazy that everybody has to have an opinion these days.
Right.
You seen in the interview with LeBron, LeBron's a master politician, so he kind of just walked around it, said, I don't agree with any hate speech, and just, did what we would expect Bron to do, at least what I would expect Bron to do. So my question is, any NBA players, like especially the ones that are more outspoken, like Draymond, Jaylen Brown, Chris Paul, guys like that, CJ McCollum, if in the event that Brooklyn really sits Kyrie down and keeps up with what I'm calling a witch hunt, you guys call it what you choose, if they keep this up into the season, do you think any of those players will speak up and not come to his rescue, but somewhat come to his aid and kind of like voice their opinion on that? Or do you think that they'll just stay out of it?
I can't say that, but what I will say though is that's a form of oppression either way, right? Like, and so, like, you're limiting somebody's voice, what they're able to say, what they're not able to say. And if maybe somebody like another player, a fellow NBA, player, doesn't, want to speak on this, but they want to speak on something else, and they now have second thoughts or whatever, like, that permeates through the league. And then it's just, what I mean, the discomfort that comes with that, the NBA will have to face eventually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, let's get.
But then want the fact that they got moved.
Yo.
Oh, yo, what's up? What's up, JD? What's up, Mars? What's up, Euro? What's up, Bobby?
What's good,
brother?
Bobby, I agree with what you were saying about the documentary and how, like, for some people they were taught that kind of stuff. Because me personally, I was taught that kind of stuff. You like you were saying, and I just think the whole thing is a little bit weird. Because not just a suspension. I don't know if y'all seen, but like they got like a whole like 6 like bullet point like checklist
to-do list.
Do.
Yeah.
Thank
you for bringing that up. I actually have that in front of me. So that what you're talking about, these are the conditions that Kyrie must complete before returning. So apologize, condemn the movie, 500,000 donation to anti-hate causes, sensitivity training, anti-Semitic training, meet with ADL and Jewish leaders, meet with Joe Tsai to demonstrate understanding.
Kyrie's not doing that, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say, and that's what I'm saying. And honestly, Bobby, because I know Bobby from ever since you came here, you talk about like watching a lot of stuff. Did you see the clip of like a few months ago when Kyrie said like when his time in the NBA is done, he's thinking about going overseas, like playing overseas?
No, I didn't. But actually, me and LaRon had talked about that before, and I said I could see Kyrie ending up playing in China or like EuroLeague or something in the next couple of seasons. Like, definitely could see that.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm Kyrie, I'm thinking about doing it. This is because look at like you said, it kind of feels like I do understand it. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I understand why people would feel a certain kind of way, but it's like it's like I said, it's kind of murky. But then looking at it, it's like it's kind of a little unfair though, because they're doing this like to him, granted, I do understand. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be punished. Cause like you said, capitalism mixed with democracy, it don't mix well. It's all control at the end. But I'm like, look at Robert. You know what I'm saying? Look at Robert for the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, he got suspended for a year, but it kind of feels like he got slapped on the wrist. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing examples. It kind of feels like, I don't know, that like they're not really trying to really understand where he's coming from and all of this. And yes, they do ask Kyrie questions and stuff, but it kind of feels like it kind of enabling them in a sense. Because I don't know if you hear the question, but the question is kind of it feels like they want to get like a certain type of sensitive response out of him. So when you're doing that, of course he's going to react a certain kind of way. Because at that point, it's kind of like you're trying to attack his characters. It don't feel genuine. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to
confusing. I was alluding to that earlier. About the hypocrisy. Like you said that that the Sarver situation, it kind of feels like he got a slap on the wrist because, or even like the Donald Sterling, it's crazy that like you do all of this and he got a bag out of it at the end of the day. He got retired and he rode off into the sunset. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I think the nastiness, the murkiness that we're currently sitting in right now is that people focusing so much on the Semitism, you know what I mean? When everybody else tries to point out, like, look, man, like the punishment and the crime, like it, you know what I mean? Like, what was it insensitive? Was it this? Was it that? Yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying? But like, you can agree to disagree, but the punishment that he's getting from this in relation to what Sarver got, in relation to what Donald Sterling got, and what Brett Favre is getting. And we're talking about the court of public opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
it just don't match up.
Yes, because no one is talking about the fact that Brett Favre, he's stealing from people who are already struggling as it is. He's stealing, what was it, thousands or millions?
Millions.
He's stealing just to go make a volleyball thing for his daughter. He's stealing from people who are already struggling as it is. Meanwhile, granted, like I said, I do understand why people feel a certain type of way about it. But I was just saying, because like Bobby, I watched some of it too. It was some of the stuff that I was taught, so I understand. I don't know all the history, but I understand some of the history, and that's why I'm like I can kind of see it in a different light. Yeah. Because especially too, because like I said, I watch a lot of Kyrie's on Twitch and some of his other stuff because he don't get deep into it, but he speaks about this kind of stuff too. For his view, he thinks of it as just trying to send a message to his people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just kind of feel like that's getting lost in all that. It kind of feels like, I don't want to say shut up and dribble, but this is honestly what it kind of feels like. At least to me personally.
I do definitely get a sense of that as well. It's like, it's like the get in line boy. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm hearing, you know what I mean, from a lot of this. And I don't like that at all.
I don't either. And like, because I feel like I said, I understand why certain groups of people would feel a type of way about that. And I'm not knocking it. Because if I felt, sensitive to that, I would feel a type of way too. We're all human at the end. But I just mean the consequences, especially on that list, that you were reading, JD, at the very end when it was like he had to go to Joe's side and like demonstrate. I'm like, demonstrate what? It's kind of like what are you trying to get out of this? Like what is the end goal? Because they say it's to educate. I said educate. Excuse me. They say it's to educate and teach Kyrie, but it don't feel that way. You know what I mean? It don't feel like that. It don't feel like that one bit. I don't like it. So I agree with you, Bobby. If I'm Kyrie, I'm honestly, I'm not coming back. Kyrie, he already has like his own leagues and stuff that he runs in New Jersey, stuff like that. He already got different type of connections with the people and stuff like that. Since from the looks, he's very passionate about that kind of stuff. And I would put that on the first surface because he could still play basketball if he wants to. There's many different ways and he's very outspoken. I just don't. I mean, I do understand it, but at the same point, I just don't understand why time and time again. Because like I said, this isn't like a first. I mean, I don't remember the last time it was on this kind of scale, but it's not the first time where something like this has happened to Kyrie. So I don't understand why I'd go through all that and just to come back when you already know this already a target on your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yo, JD, can I make a request?
Yeah.
Can we get Elder Rufus up here? I feel like he's a there he is.
What's up, Elder Rufus?
Asking you shall receive.
Yeah, fire, man, fire.
Yeah.
And also, to the again, sorry, to anybody listening and watching, please go search the channel, the Players Choice channel, that is, for the We Are Not the Same episode that Shaq and I were able to do with Craig Hodges. I think this, he didn't speak on Kyrie Irving, obviously, because this took place before any of this madness, but there are a lot of gems that he dropped, from his time with the NBA, that I think are relevant to this conversation right now. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that one out.
Yo, bro, appreciate you tapping in, bro.
Thank
Hey,
you.
salute everybody.
All right, my man.
How you doing, Rufus? Elder Rufus.
I'm incredible. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right?
Not bad. Yeah. Just having a good conversation, man. Trying to get your opinion on this.
The hypocrisy is off the chain, in my personal opinion about it, man. I don't like hearing statements that people are unfit and they don't meet our core values. And, when you start digging into their lives and the things that they support and put their money towards, it's 10 times worse than a man just making a post at the end of the day. And in my opinion, Kyrie did everything they asked him to do, and they just won't accept it. It's personal. It's clear that it's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to when Kyrie said that they pawns. They don't like that, so that's why the media is jumping all over him. It's personal when Kyrie said during the bubble that, hey, we need to start our own league. You think they want to hear stuff like that coming from people? They do not. They want to silence any level of what they consider free speech. Anybody that wants to be a recluse and not follow the program, they're going to try to silence. They're really upset with Kyrie about the jab situation. They're not happy about all of that. So now this just gave them an opportunity. But in this, the opportunity to try to cancel this dude. But in the process of doing it, they all showing their high levels of hypocrisy. But they're trying to band together in something that they've been programmed to band together in and make him the villain when everyone wants to ignore what everybody else is doing. I got like zero respect for Shaquille O'Neal. I got zero respect for Charles Barkley. Zero respect for Stephen A. Smith. Zero respect for LeBron James. What's his name?
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. The Pelicans. The president. What's his name? Came from Portland down there for the Pelicans now. Ain't he head of the Players Association?
Terry Porter?
McCullum. Him. I heard
CJ.
CJ. I heard what all of them had to say, bro. It's sad. It's clear you can see it, but everybody's concerned about themselves. Everybody's concerned now. You multi-millionaires. Some of you want to be considered billionaires. But here it is. You see a man being oppressed, and instead of coming to his aid, I thought the NBA was a brotherhood. It don't sound like a brotherhood to me when all these ex-NBA players and all these current NBA players are throwing him further up under the bus. When this thing could have been put to bed easily. All it took was the stars, because the stars was make the money for the NBA. It's a star-driven league. It ain't the NFL where they push the shield. They push stars in the NBA. So if the stars, just 10 of them would have came out and said, you know what? We believe Kyrie did what he was supposed to do. He might have made a mistake, but he's already apologized. He's already separated himself from anything that would be considered anti-Semitic. He took the post down. He did everything that y'all wanted him to do, except get out here and be buck broken in front of the whole world. And if they would have came together and said, you know what? We ain't playing if Kyrie ain't playing. I guarantee you this thing would have been over in 24 hours. Because when you hit the powers that be in their pocket, that's the only way they listen to you. That's the only way that you can come to a table sensibly with them. Other than that, they're going to hammer their ideologies on you. I mean, are you serious? We got guys that are pushing drugs, big weight. We got guys that are beating up women. We got men out here whoremongering and adultery, sleeping with other men's wives. These guys can get jobs. These guys we can keep. These guys fit our core values of our company. But a guy like Kyrie who copied and pasted, right? He don't fit. He's all these narratives. Man, it's hypocrisy at its highest form, bro. And it's sad. And then when you go on their platforms, like I saw what Jay Williams tried to do. And I saw how Molly Kiram jumped in there for the powers that be and shut him down. Because he brought it out. How in the world are we tripping on a man that just copied and pasted when you got another man on here who has promoted it, sold it for years, almost a decade now? They've been selling that book since 2000. I got all the books. I got all the books. I got the movie. I got all of it. I know the man personally that made it. At the end of the day, though, they're out here selling it, making a profit. You ain't coming at Amazon that way. Why? Because you got a contract with the NBA. You got billions of dollars on the line. You ain't even coming at Shaq yet. I want to see what happens with Shaquille O'Neal. Here it is, you popping off the mouth calling Kyrie an idiot. Like he the lowest level of scum. But here it is, you made profit off of it in 2018 in your movie theaters. I want to see what they say to Shaquille O'Neal. I want to see if he gets labeled as an anti-Semitic. I want to see if he gets labeled as being a person that promotes hate speech. I want to see it. The hypocrisy is at an all-time high. Now, folk will come back and say, Kyrie's always a problem. He's always this, he's always that. That's irrelevant because that's your personal opinion. That's your personal opinion. What laws has he broke? What person has he come up personally to and done some harm to? We got guys that have beat the crap out of their wives in front of their children. And we finna get him a job. Because they had enough money to pay this wicked system. But he finna get a job. We got guys that's going in here having zero respect for the organization. Bump your rules, bump your laws. I'm above it because I'm getting your team to the NBA Finals. I can do what I want to do. I can go over here and sleep with the VP's wife if I want to. Nobody's going to say a word to me. And I get suspended with pay. And while I'm suspended, let me get a better job. Let me slide down the road and give me a better job.
To the same organization that's condemning Kyrie.
And they saying that he is not fit. Kyrie's not fit. He doesn't meet their values. But Ime Udoka does? I don't get it, bro. I do get it. It's hypocrisy at the highest level. And I'm so disappointed. I'm glad I'm actually removed now from the NBA. I'm not attached like I used to be decades ago. These guys are despicable to me. I'm being honest. They are 100% despicable to me. They're hypocrites. I'm in the Atlanta area. And I know I said this on the video. I ain't put it out yet. But, Charles Barkley got a reputation, right? He got a reputation of punching fans. Y'all know about that? I think he's been assaulted like 4 or 5 fans. I'm going to see if he assault this fan. Because I'd love to see Charles Barkley with his hypocritical self. I really would. I'd love to see him with his hypocritical self. All of them want to jump on this dude for a post. And Shaq, the biggest hypocrite in that part. Because here it is, you done profited in your movie theaters off the movie. But got the nerve to call him an idiot? What are you then, Shaq? What are you? A 7-foot idiot? What are you? Well, I don't get it, y'all.
If they can
somebody make sense of it. Go ahead, my brother. I'm sorry. Oh, you up? Go ahead, brother.
Oh, okay. My bad. If they condemn Shaq for playing the movie in his movie theater, then that's just like a precedent to move on to condemn Jeff Bezos. So therefore, I don't think they'll even touch that.
Again, they don't want to even have that level of conversation cannot be brought to the table. When they soundbite and clip the videos of Kyrie when he's being interviewed after practices and all this kind of stuff, you notice they only put the information in front of you that they want in front of you. When Kyrie talks about, okay, you want to ask me that I feel like I hurt people's feelings, then he went the route of saying, well, where was you when I was a child and I had to ask these questions and I found out about 300 million of my ancestors buried on this land? Where was you then? Where was you then? You know what, though? That'll be ignored. That will be ignored. That is history that they want to keep suppressed. The reason he's on the firing squad is because he has walked into truth. He has walked into prophetic truth. I've been knowing about this for decades. I've been walking and living this for decades. And everybody wants the answer. And my man Ticket, he said something on one of his videos, and I got to give him props for that because I don't blame him. He was front and center when the Kaepernick stuff went down. He said he put out things, 3,000 people asked him to join him to boycott the NFL. at the league office. One person showed up. One. So when melanated people are not going to stick together, why would you put yourself on the line for them? This is why I'm mad about the NBA players. They have all come. Have y'all heard any player? I don't know, but I heard about what's his name, Royce White. Salute to him. But I'm talking about current players that's playing in the league. Who has come out and supported Kyrie? Am I missing it? I know I'm out of the loop some. Has anybody came out publicly that's in the league right now and supported Kyrie in this thing? All you are sellouts. Every single one of you are sellouts. And most of you are millionaires, multimillionaires. Y'all already got generational wealth. But you have no morals. You have no scruples. You talking about fit and values. Y'all have none of that. You will bow and you will do exactly what you're told to do, when you're told to do it, and how you're told to do it. That's what Kyrie's problem is. You look at that list of 6 things, he's actually done all that crap already. I heard the ADL say, we don't want your money, Kyrie, but I guarantee this. Let's just say this, hypothetical. Let's say Kyrie bow down. Let's say he bow down and let them buck break him in front of everybody. I bet the ADL take his $500,000 then. I bet they take it then. Hypocrites. Man, I'm fired about this. I did a video on my channel. I did one today on the road. That thing was like 30 minutes. I don't think I can post it though. I'll probably be banned from every online thing that's ever been created. I probably will be banned because I call everybody out.
Rufus, what's your channel name if people want to go watch that?
My same as my screen name, Straightway Georgia Elder Rufus. Straightway Georgia Elder Rufus. That's my channel name. But I put that out a couple of days ago. Well, a couple of days ago, Friday, I believe it was. And I'm telling you, I went in. I went in. Because, again, this hypocrisy, man, is on an all-time level. Now, my channel, I don't even talk sports. My channel was a life channel. My channel was a self-sufficiency, independent channel. Teaching folk, that's the real answer. That's the real answer. They don't want the real answer, though. Most people say, what do we do? How do we support? How do we come together? You don't want the real answer. So the real answer, you got to vote with your feet. My bad. Go ahead.
I want to bring someone in because I think they have an opposing point of view. So I just want to be able to have dialogue on this.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yo, is it Ed? ED?
Yo, what's good, fellas?
What's good, bro?
What's going on, man?
Hey, salute, my brother.
What's good, everybody? Listen.
What up?
I love Kyrie. I really do. And what I'm about to say might sound a little bit controversial, but Elder Rufus, I do agree with you about the hypocrisy. It's not always the same with everybody, 1,000%, especially when it comes to Kyrie Irving, because we all know for the last couple of years or so, Kyrie Irving has not been looked at in the best light when it comes to the media. Every single chance they get to talk about him in a negative light, they will do it. Now, despite everything that Kyrie's done, because we all know Kyrie is an ambassador of the NBA, we do know that he's put in a lot of work, especially in the Black community. So no one can ever take that away with him. The problem is the media will only let you see what you want to see. So if you got casuals that don't do their research, all they do is watch ESPN, Fox Sports, FS1 News, and all this other stuff, all you're gonna see is just Kyrie Irving getting bashed over and over again, like a sledgehammer. And it's true. However, and here's the thing that might be a little right now, but I gotta say it. Especially because of this last season, and I know it's not just about them the way they lost in the playoffs in the first round, but because there's just so much controversy surrounded by Kyrie because the media wants them to see what they want him to see. If you are cognizantly aware of your surroundings, knowing that anything you could post that could be controversial could only just be heightened tenfold because the media, again, only wants to see what you want to see, then to some degree, Kyrie does hold some kind of accountability in that aspect in terms of, hey, this might be controversial, but you know what? Let me go ahead and just repost it anyway. Now, I agree. It's not the same across the board. I do agree with that 1,000%. But if you know you're not in the best light with the media, like you know that, and your agents and everyone around you is telling you like, hey, like maybe you shouldn't post this. Like, listen, and we're not telling you to get rid of your free speech because Kyrie Irving has every right to feel and speak on his behalf for what he wants to say. And I'm not gaslighting him not to. But when you work for a corporation, when you're an employee, when you are an employee and you say something controversial that could offend another group of people, I'm not gonna lie, those people have every right to be offended. And we, as other races or other religions that aren't as familiar with that, we can't go out and say, hey, maybe y'all shouldn't be that offended. Maybe y'all can't, because, and I know it's not the same, but it's the same shit with Robert Sarver. I knew people around me, even people in the black community where I live, that was saying how, oh, well, Robert Sarver, he's paying all these dudes, he gave Chris Paul this extension. He said a couple of things, but I'm like, hey, listen, regardless, Robert Sarver offended a group of people. And regardless, he should leave office. I'm not saying the same shit with Kyrie, because it's not like he was saying the N-word or saying anything. All he did was just a simple repost. But if you're not in the best light with the media, like, you have to be cognizantly aware of your surroundings. And I know it's not fair. It's not fair to Kyrie at all, because I know he's getting blackballed like a motherfucker. We all know this. Everyone on this panel can agree that he is getting blackballed to a very high degree. But you have to have enough cognizance aware of the things that you post could offend certain people. I remember Anthony Edwards in the offseason, he saw a couple of dudes that was wearing shirts or like wearing like these tight ass shirts, and he called them a bunch of queers. Now, to us, that's just, a simple post. He's 19, 20 years old. He didn't mean anything by it. He's just, he was probably just out. He was probably lit. And, he was just, being a young kid or a young man.
I mean, you shouldn't say that.
Yes.
Like, regardless, it was wrong of what you said
now,
and did.
Let me speak on that real quick. And to what you're saying, he said it, right? Anthony Edwards said it. As soon as he got reprimanded, did he not do what they asked him to do? Did he not apologize, do whatever he had to do? They fined him, no suspension, no nothing. He's back out there. Yeah. This is where I talk about the high levels of hypocrisy. Because as soon as Kyrie, the owner, I'm disappointed, you did this, blah, 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 blah. What did he do? Did he not go take the post down? When they finally said, look, he already apologized. He just didn't say it in the way they wanted to hear him say. He took full accountability. He took full accountability for posting it. He took full accountability for not knowing every single thing that was in there. He took full accountability for saying, hey, when I finally did see that they had some misinformation about the Holocaust, he took full responsibility for that. Then when they said, you need to apologize, he did instantly. We're going to suspend you 5 games. You need to apologize. You need to apologize. Because he had already apologized. They said, no, you need to say, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. We're going to suspend you 5 games till you do it. No problem. At least 5 games. No problem. Instantly, he went ahead and did it on the same platform that he posted this video on, or this clip, not even a video. Again, it's the hypocrisy behind it. Because Joe Tsai is not going to come at Shaquille O'Neal that way. He's not going to come at Amazon that way. How is it that I'm so offended at what Kyrie did by posting something on his private social media, right? For millions to see. Hold on, for millions to see. But I'm not offended at what Jeff Bezos is doing, making profit off of it. For billions to see. For the whole world to see. Everybody's not connected. I guarantee you there's more people connected to Amazon than it is to Kyrie's Twitter and Kyrie's Instagram account. I guarantee it. But you're not offended there, but you're offended here. That's the hypocrisy. That's where it comes in and it says it's personal. And my thing is, Joe Tsai, if you're a man and you don't like Kyrie, I actually had, gentlemen wagers and all this summer about Kyrie leaving them. Guess why? It wasn't because of what I thought about Kyrie. The sentiments I got from the ownership was they didn't like him. They didn't want him. So I was like, he's gone. And he should have been gone. But if Kevin Durant didn't do what he did, they wouldn't have had to use Kyrie as a pawn. All of it's blown up in their face.
It is.
Because Brooklyn's still horrible. They still paying all that money out. And their organization is one of the worst in the NBA. Because they have no morals. They have no values. Who fits it? You tell me the individuals that fit the Brooklyn Nets organization. All I'm talking about, my brother, is this. The hypocrisy is off the chain. I don't have a problem with people getting offended. People offended at me every day. I don't care. If I feel like I did something wrong to them and I was out of pocket, guess what I'll do? I'll be a man and I'll go apologize to them. It's up to them if they want to receive my forgiveness or not. But for me to sit here and let you buck break me in front of the whole world, that wouldn't happen. So my words to Kyrie, I got one word for Kyrie: stand. Stand, brother. You are already in a position that 99.9% of the world will never be in. You have generational wealth for you, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Bro, stand on that. Go over. I'm like the one brother said earlier, go overseas, because I remember hearing them say that too. Go overseas, make $5-10 million, bro. Go over there, be at peace, and still play ball. Give them your thing. Because the NBA is full of crap, and they all full of hypocrites. I've lost so much respect for the NBA as a whole and the majority of the players. I knew LeBron was a buck dancing politician from day one. I knew he was. And everything he said in his recent statements was all to better that. It's all political statements that he's making, towing the line. Oh, I can't be a part of this. I can't be a part. Oh, I can't show that because I brought him in and I don't support no hate, blah, 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 blah. But he'll be the first one in Kyrie's face talking about, I'm supporting you, bro. You want to come over here to Lakers to help me win? Come on over here. He'll be the first one. It's all political. It's all political from his standpoint. What I'm saying is the hypocrisy, bro. I don't have a problem with them being mad at Kyrie. But why don't he get to okay, everybody was mad at old boy in Minnesota. He apologized. He paid the fine. He's on the court playing. Why can't we receive from Kyrie what you receive from Anthony Edwards? And I guarantee you, Anthony Edwards came from a place of understanding. That was what he understood those type of people to be. That's why it was spoken out of his mouth. Kyrie is at least admitting, no, I saw some things in here that fit what I'm thinking. I'm searching my history. I'm learning about who I am as an individual. I saw a few things that any of y'all ever watched the documentary? I watched it. Have anybody else on this panel watched the documentary or read the book?
No,
it's 3 hours of stuff that you're gonna have to constantly wake yourself up. It's not the most entertaining documentary in the world. But if you are a truth seeker, if you are an information junkie, you can sit through it. So when he realized, okay, these things were offensive, I didn't know him, I don't have no connection to him, I'm sorry, I took the post down, forgive me, I take full responsibility. That's not enough though. We'll receive it from Anthony Edwards, but we won't receive it from Kyrie. Man, if I'm Kyrie, I tell them, man, I'm. So, people keep, sorry. I want to get two more people up here. I appreciate you guys tapping in and sharing your opinions on this.
Salute.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, bro. My
JD, bro, you look stressed,
bro. It's just like I keep saying, man. It's. I don't know. This is such a difficult conversation. I'm glad that we're able to have it. I'm glad that you guys come up here and share your opinions. I know it's
for sure, man. Thank you guys.
Like I said, I watched that 3-hour documentary. I'm not saying every single thing in there was 100% true. I know there was a lot of embellishment. There was some things going on. But again, when the man distanced himself from those things, he apologizes and takes full responsibility for that. And then the thing that he put it on, he took it off. Then he told him, hey, to show you how sorry I am, I'll give $500,000. That's me showing you I'm sorry for what I did. No, we don't want it that. No, we don't want it. We got to have you come up in front of the whole world and let us strip your pants down. And, man, come on, man.
Well, so just real quick, and just to make sure I just understand correctly, did Kyrie Irving apologize like the same day, or did he? Because I know he pushed back with one reporter. I know a day or two afterwards, and then he didn't actually remove until like a couple of days after. Was that the case or no?
Doesn't matter. He did it. Once they suspended him. Once they suspended him and said, hey, you're not fit, you need to apologize and say these things. He got on the same platform that he put it on and did that. But that wasn't good enough. Now I got a list of 6 things to make you fit and to make you coincide with our core values, but you'll go hire an adulterer. That fits your core values, right? You'll put genocide on people. You'll fund it, Josiah. You'll fund genocide, right? That fits your core values, right? They're hypocrites, bro. That's all I'm saying. They are hypocrites. And everybody coming at Kyrie
are hypocrites. Yeah, I agree with you on the hypocrisy. There's no question about it. And again, I know, it's the media itself. Again, with Anthony Edwards, he's still looked at as one of the up-and-coming rising stars. So, of course, his blowback isn't going to be what Kyrie's is right now. Kyrie, again, he's been under scrutiny for the past, let's be real, he's been under scrutiny since he left the Cavaliers. Like, let's just keep it a buck. Like, the league has been pushing for Kyrie, this weird Kyrie agenda like the last 4 or 5 years, essentially saying, hey, like, and despite, because we all know, Kyrie does amazing things, especially for the Black community. So I know for a fact what he's saying was trying to educate us and, to make us be better as a society. However, again, if I know for a fact I'm not in the best light when it comes to the media, or I'm not in the best light when it comes to my job, and I know my job is looking for any excuse to quote unquote get rid of me. If I post something that would be detrimental to my company because I work for a corporation, and my bosses, they get wind of that, and they say, hey, why did you post this shit? And then I'm going back and forth. I'm like, yo, like, it's just one post. Why are you getting at me so much? But it was the other controversies that the media was putting out prior. That you ever heard that whole saying, the straw that broke the camel's back? This might be it. Even though this might be, yes, it is a post. It's one post. I agree with you.
And my brother, I fully understand what you were saying, and I addressed that earlier. I said, be a man, Josiah. It's clear to me in the summer you didn't like Kyrie. You didn't really want him on your team then. Just be a man and get rid of him then. Don't come up with all these things that make him be something that he's actually not. Just to justify you. Justify. It's like in a bad relationship, how guys gotta start arguments, or a woman start arguing. We gotta do something crazy. We gotta create something crazy just for me to walk away. No, let's just say this. It ain't working for you. It ain't working for me. Bye. It's simple. Bye. Let's move on. And that's what I said about, that's what I said about Josiah. That's what I was saying. Just get rid of the dude. You got the power. Don't create something. Don't make him something he's not. Just get him out of your organization if he don't fit your values. So that's all I was saying.
Last point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was gonna say. So what would they have done with KD? Because that wouldn't have sat with KD the right way if they had just let him go.
KD took the shot, bro. It's not the same thing.
Man, they pump fakers. Because they were presented that when they first came out this summer and talked to everybody about how they start diminishing Kyrie's value, all this stuff, saying he's not this, blah blah blah. And you can tell Brooklyn didn't want him. And the reporters asked them, "Hey, this ain't gonna sit well with KD. What's gonna happen here if you move Kyrie? What if KD does this?" They came back and tried to double down and say, "Well, if that's the case, we'll move them both." Then KD came and said, "I want to be traded." Now they're the victims. I'm not buying that stuff, bro. You want to be a man, run your company, be a man. I own companies, multiple, right? Yeah. If I have an issue with an employee, which I never would because we're all family, but if I did, I would look them dead in the eye and say, this ain't working. So you're going to have to go do this, and I'm going to do this. It's that simple. I'm not going to create this thing, make him look worse than he is, and then justify my letting him go. No, we're going to separate, bro. Okay, so I'm going to separate. You do you, I'll do me. It's that simple. That's man, not being a hypocrite.
Oh, just one last thing, though, before I get off. Did y'all hear about Miles Bridges and what happened with his trial? Y'all know he only got like 3 years of
probation.
Yep. How do you feel about that?
He's fit for the NBA. I talked about that probably before you came on. He's fit for the NBA, though. You got guys that beat the crap out of women in front of children. He's fit for the NBA. You got guys that go around here and sleep with everybody's wives. Regardless what the team rules are, regardless of what the culture of the team is, I'm over everybody. I can sleep with everybody's wife I want to. He's fit to have another job, right?
I hope he does.
You got guys out here. You got guys out here moving major weight on the courts playing right now. Just this past summer, moving major weight. They on the court playing right now though. So we got dope dealers, we got woman beaters, we got adulterers. They fit for the NBA. Their values, their core beliefs. It fits the NBA because all them dudes working, getting a paycheck. But because Kyrie did one post, now he's not fit. Now he don't understand the core values of the Nets. You don't have no core values, Nets, and you deserve what you get.
I mean, Porzingis had allegations against him when he was playing for Dallas with that one woman, and hey, I mean, he still got a job. So.
All right,
the
fellas.
league is full of crap. Hey,
appreciate y'all
having
man.
me on, man.
Appreciate y'all tapping in.
Peace, y'all.
Thank y'all. All right, last two, and then we're gonna get to some hoops, man. Hold on, really quick. Hold on. One of y'all's. Yo, Jeff, I don't know if you got like a fan or something in the back, or if it's your microphone, but there's some buzzing sound.
Okay.
Let me mute you.
How y'all doing, gentlemen?
Yo, what's up, bro? How are you, man?
Good. Let me explain my name. I have a name, but I can't say it because I work for the respective league that we're talking about. So I'm not going to say certain names. So I don't want to get myself in trouble.
You're good, bro. You're good. No, you still got some buzzing going on. Go ahead, bro. Tap in, man.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll keep it short for my opening, but I kind of, what I'm going to say is very anecdotal because I'll use anecdotal arguments to back up because everybody's saying the broad tip, but it's really frustrating seeing the discourse and the outcome of the situation because like Uncle Rufus said, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. And I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Jersey. And if you've ever been up to New York, it's a big Jewish population in New York. There's a big Jewish population in Philly. And the way it's done now it's starting to be put in where it's African Americans versus Jewish people. And that's what I hate because it's like it's turning into who's more oppressed, who's worse. We're seeing conversations in the chat about, oh, slavery was worse than the Holocaust. They're both horrible shits. Like they're both massacres of people. Like whether it's a shorter period of time or a long period of time, people are dying, and these are our ancestors. And it's ironic that people could do. Kyrie could not say something. He could literally post something, and then he's turned into this martyr of the community. But I'm pretty sure we could put up all the information about all the owners and all this stuff, like Sarver and all this stuff. They get to walk away with billions. They don't lose their endorsements. They don't lose nothing. That's really detrimental to these billionaires. And I'll finish off with this last thing, and then I'll be in here. But somebody said, "You tell me who you can't criticize, and I'll tell you who controls you." And that speaks so much in my head.
Jeff, what's up, bro?
What's good, fellas? I've been wanting to talk about this topic since the open gym, but they preface it to talk about. And I'm actually glad that Euro's in this too, because Euro loves this type of stuff. But the thing I want to preface kind of with what you said, because I'm actually from Jersey too, and there's a huge Jewish population that basically owns all the buildings, and they set the rules, the living conditions, and everything like that. And there's people that complain about it, but this is not an attack about the Jewish people. But why is it that the Jewish people have so much say on what is allowed to be said and what's not? Like if you think about it, Kyrie's getting canceled because of the anti-Semitism. Kanye, not even that his comments about slavery being a choice canceled him, but now that he stated something about his kids going to a Jewish school, right? And they're going to be able to be successful because the Jewish people have set rules for themselves. And it's just kind of crazy that these people are getting canceled because of the Jewish comments, but not comments of other things. And it's just mind-boggling that they have this much power. And let's even preface the thing about Kyrie.
Bro, sorry. It's the way that you're talking about the sorry, bro. It's like you're walking a fine line.
Okay.
And
JD, but that's what he's talking about right there, JD.
I know,
that's a prime example of what he's talking about, JD. If he's saying that the Jewish people own something, that's nothing wrong with him saying.
I'm not saying you're going to get me in trouble. I'm just saying like it's the way that it sounds and comes across. It's see, this is why like I am not the person to have these conversations, bro. Like I'm not. But
You can,
the thing.
but then
It's
don't
like
say
walking
anything,
on
JD.
eggshells.
Let the homie get his, get it off or whatever. Like whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Speak
Now
your
here's
mind,
the thing.
brother.
Like now here's the thing though, man. Like we have to understand that we got to be respectful about it.
Yeah,
it all,
super
you know what I mean?
respectful. All right, I understand that.
So like let's not. The reason why we decided to talk about this in the first place is to have an open dialogue about this. You know what I mean? Hear multiple opinions from all sides of the argument or whatever. Come together and hopefully be one of the first ones, one of the only ones that are able to have a discourse about this. You know what I mean? That is not ending in more division. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly this is the trend currently. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind because that's not what we're about. That's not what I'm about. I'll say that straight out. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we want to do here at Players Choice.
No doubt.
So, if you have your opinion, state your opinion. You know what I mean? We would love to hear it, obviously. But, what I mean? If it gets crazy, and, this goes for the people in the chat as well, though.
Yeah. And I just wanted to just put that preface, and I'm going to go back to Kyrie. And that's what I don't understand. Again, I haven't watched the documentary. I've seen the comments about why Kyrie is getting basically shunned for it. But the thing is, the whole time I was thinking about it, I feel that Kyrie was coming off of the preface of heritage, not hate. He was trying to find out information about his background. That's why, and he found something very interesting in that documentary about it. But because there's this section that has anti-Semitism, right? Now it's getting put on that this is what Kyrie stands for. And it's just very confusing. And then people are saying it's because he's spreading propaganda, but there's so much propaganda in the world. Why aren't the other things that are propaganda? Why aren't they getting canceled? Like there's a documentary on Hulu about Trump colluding with Russia, which has already been proven that he hasn't done that, but that's still on Hulu. Why do we choose what propaganda is okay and what propaganda is not okay for us to be able to speak on and to not to be able to speak on? That's what's so confusing, because Kyrie has a voice, and it's like people don't want him to have a voice. They just really just want him to play basketball. He's playing basketball this year. I think he's like averaging really good numbers. They're not winning, but he's balling out. But instead of talking about his basketball play, because it's not a problem now because he's playing, now we have to find something else about Kyrie, and it's not right. It's just not right. And that's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah,
for sure.
I would like to say I've watched the documentary because after all this stuff happened, I actually watched it. It doesn't deny the Holocaust. I can see why people are saying that because it quotes Revelation chapter 3 verse 9. Well, if you're Christian, that's in the New Testament where it says that the Jews that say they're Jews is like, it says all that. I won't say it on here. I don't want people to correlate that to you guys, even though I'm just quoting a scripture. But that's the most thing that is really getting people mad. And I think what this shows is we gotta people don't have these conversations, and the big networks, it's really sad that people speaking on stuff that they haven't seen or speaking on stuff that they haven't researched. It's just like talking out one ass out of the other. And it's really sad because you're putting they literally started almost a war between, I'm talking anecdotal, from what I see in certain streets, especially Jersey and New York. It's like if you're into basketball, it's one or the other. And it's like there's no nuance, there's no patience. And I think in this situation, like, unfortunately, like, I'm a big Kyrie fan. I think he's done in the NBA. I don't think they're gonna let him back. No matter what he does, he did try to donate the $500K. They didn't accept it. So I don't know what's going to change to let them accept it. The ADL president said he's not going to accept the money. So I just want to say that it's sad. I thank you guys for having the conversation and being willing enough to be like, I don't have all the answers. Let me have some people who may know some more stuff or may not. Hopefully there's somebody in the chat that is Jewish that saw this a different way, so y'all can get their nuance and stuff. Like, instead of just being people who are on the side of Kyrie, maybe we get another side of somebody who may not be on his side, and just have that healthy dialogue. So I do thank y'all for for opening up this platform for people.
For sure.
This how.
And if you do want to speak on that, and you are on the other side of where your opinion stands, like your voice, we want your voice to be heard. Please comment, please shoot us a message. You're welcome to come up here and share that with us, man. But thank you everyone. Thank you guys for coming up here and sharing your opinions. Thank you guys for the discourse, the discussion. I just appreciate it. I'm glad that we have a platform where we can have these conversations, man. So thank y'all.
God bless you guys.
Yes, sir.
All right. And in the weirdest way possible, transitioning into basketball talk, man.
You all right, JD?
Bro, it's just such a tough conversation. And tough conversations are good to have. I'm just over here because I'm so, like I said, I don't have enough knowledge about so many different things where I can formulate an opinion on all the stuff that's just surrounding it. It's just, man.
Whew. Maria.
Damn.
My bad, y'all.
Who's Maria? Mars, what's up, bro?
Hey.
What do you want to talk about, Mars? What kind of basketball conversations you want to have right now, man?
I don't mind.
An agenda to push?
Kind of. A little bit.
All right, I'm here for it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess the agenda is I don't like winning bias, if that makes sense. There's a lot of times where a team will win or a team will lose, and people will attribute that to like the star players playing well or playing poorly. So, for example, if you win a series, people will try and look for a reason why. For example, if LeBron James lost, people will try and look for a reason why LeBron James lost the series. And sometimes it's not as simple as if he played better, they win. Sometimes you can play the best and still lose because as we know, it's a team sport. And people try to find, they'll nitpick any little reason for why a loss happened. And I don't like that. If you win, you played well. If you lost, you played poorly. It's a very simplistic way to view things. Chris Paul gets a lot of that. He loses, he will blow the 2-0 leads. That was a big stat. He'd blown the most 2-0 leads of all time. And people attribute that to Chris Paul not playing well enough. But you can just watch and see Chris Paul wasn't playing poorly. His teams lost. There was a lot of injuries. That stuff happens. For example, 2018 Houston, they missed the 27 straight threes. Yes. And then people tried to blame James Harden for that. It's not James Harden's fault that Trevor Ariza went 0 for 11, but we're trying to find a way to blame the superstars for their teams failing. It's not as simple as if the star player plays better, they win. If they play bad, they lose. In a team sport, there's so much more that goes into wins and losses than one player's performance. And I feel like we try to just find ways to blame or a reason why they lost beyond just the other team was a better team. It's not always, for example, Allen Iverson made the finals. Allen Iverson, great player. It doesn't make him better. A big talking point is Allen Iverson's better than James Harden. James Harden never made the finals. Allen Iverson did make the finals. James Harden played the best team of all time because they were in his conference and he lost in the conference finals. Allen Iverson played the best team of that time. Bulls? In my opinion, one of the best teams of all time, the KD Warriors, and he lost to them in the Western Conference Finals. AI played one of the best teams of all time, the 0-1 Lakers, because they were in different conferences, he played them in the finals. We all know if Allen Iverson was in the same conference as the Lakers, he would lose and he wouldn't have made the finals. So why does him making the finals hold so much weight versus James Harden when he's in a different conference? It's not James Harden's fault he was playing in the West. It's not James Harden's fault that one of the best teams of all time was in his conference. It's also not Allen Iverson's fault that one of the best teams of all time was in the other conference, which allowed him to make the finals. Because if you ask me, James Harden makes the finals if he has to play the Cavs in the conference finals and then the Warriors in the finals. And then you're going to say James Harden is now better than Allen Iverson because he made the finals, when there's so many circumstances that aren't his fault for why he didn't make the finals. I just don't like that we have to judge players based on wins and losses when that's what you judge a team on. You judge the team on wins and losses. because if the team is poor, they're not going to win. A player can be great and still lose, and I just don't like how simplistically we view some things, such as winning and losing.
But don't you do that also? Prime example would be like Bradley Beal, for example, right? Great player. He plays extremely well, but the team always loses.
I don't think Bradley Beal is a bad player. I don't think he's one of the top 10. I mean, but that's more so not based on his game. I think his game is very good. I think he's one of the 20, 25 best players in the world. But he still has deficiencies in his game. For some reason, his spot-up shooting has fallen off. His three-point shooting off the dribble isn't that great. He's not a fantastic facilitator or a passer, and he's not a great defender. He's an excellent scorer. He was a great scorer those years. He was averaging 30. I don't take that away from him. I don't call it empty stats because he's a great player capable of scoring those numbers efficiently. So that's why. But if you ask me a player like, I always go to Jeremy Grant in Detroit. He's not a 20-point per game scorer. He scored that many points because you put the ball in someone's hands enough, they're going to score that many points. Bradley Beal losing wasn't the reason why I didn't have him in the top 10. It's much more nuanced than 30 points a game. You're the same as LeBron James, who averaged 30 points a game. There's levels to it. It's not just as points per game. There you go, rank him higher. There's more to it than that, in my opinion.
Mars. I think I'm with you on, I understand the point of the winning bias. When we talk about players in so many conversations, it's, well, he's not winning or hasn't won. In certain contexts, that, of course, that matters. I know Bobby is very upset at this conversation right now because you got to win, right? But when it comes to you're talking about a player's skill, their talent, and how good they are at basketball, you should be able to separate whether or not the team is winning or losing and look at that player for what they do on the court, right? I don't know, Bobby, am I crazy? You're muted.
I think that's fair. I mean, there's some players that we all know if they were on better teams, they would have got some rings. We know that there's some players that maybe aren't as good as their resume looks because they had some extra help. But I mean, that's one of those things. It takes us to one of those hypotheticals. If this, if that, if that, if this. And I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know, you gotta take your crookeds with your straights. You
know. I feel like this is a good transition into. I want to talk about Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell is playing at an extremely high level. He's playing very well in Cleveland, and he's currently sitting at 3 in the official NBA MVP ladder. And so, Mars, I have a question for you. How do I ask this question? Is Donovan Mitchell as good as he looks, or because he's playing on a winning team, does that make him look better? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But the Jazz were also a winning team. They were the 1 seed in 2021.
Right.
So they've been a winning team. I think the reason Donovan Mitchell looks so good is A, he's had the ball a bunch because Darius Garland's been out. But B, I think defensively, his effort is much improved. I don't know what the issue was in Utah, why he wasn't playing as hard on defense as he is now. B, the Cleveland Cavaliers defense is better suited for him with the 2 backline rim protectors and Evan Mobley, who can basically do everything on defense. So it's a much simpler transition for him on defense on that side of the ball. B, or maybe C, I don't know how many points I've made. C, I think he's become a better passer this season. I think his interior passing is also taken another jump. That could be because he didn't trust Rudy Gobert's hands, because his hands are notoriously bad. So he wasn't making the same passes he's making this season, where he's been finding Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, a lot of cutters very routinely this season, where I think he's taken an extra leap in terms of playmaking. His scoring has been great. He's been solidly efficient this season, but I don't think his scoring game has taken as much of a jump as his playmaking and his defense has, which is why people are viewing him in a much higher light. And I think with Darius Garland back, where you have Donovan Mitchell as a secondary playmaker and a secondary facilitator, he's going to continue to score fantastically well. His efficiency might even go up because now he's getting more created looks for him rather than him creating so much of his offense, which he's doing right now. So I think Donovan Mitchell could be an MVP candidate this year, depending on how the media want to push the Cavaliers train. Because I think the Cavs will be a very high seed. I think they're going to be great for the regular season, permitting health. So I think if they're a top 3 seed and the media want to push the Donovan Mitchell MVP train, he could be a candidate, but it all depends on that. Because I think he can play at like the typical MVP level, high scorer, good playmaker, great offensive player, quote unquote, best player on one of the best teams. He could do that. But he was also doing that in Utah to most people, leading them to a high seed, and he was never an MVP candidate. So it just depends on how the media want to push that Donovan Mitchell agenda.
What do you think their ceiling is? Cleveland.
Championship.
Stop.
This season.
I will not stop. I will not stop.
You're talking about winning, like winning it all.
Yeah, I don't know.
I already put some money on them. So
I think conference finals. I think they could make the conference finals.
It's one of those things, like just like every year, the seeding just has to be right. You just got to play the right team. You need the right team to beat the right team. You know,
yes.
you need somebody to knock Giannis off, which that's a tall task. But I like the way that the Cavs are just put together, like especially Karis LeVert and Evan Mobley. Like they're just really. I think Karis LeVert especially is really slept on. He could come out and give you a quick 25-30 on any given night. I think Isaac Okoro, his aggression and defensive abilities, they got that. I mean, Evan and Jared Allen, they're protecting the rim. Evan Mobley is insane good. I think he's really slept on. Kevin Love coming off that bench, he's stretching the floor out, shooting the ball. I liked them a lot last year before the trade and everything. I think if Jared Allen would have been healthy and if Karis LeVert wouldn't have had the whole kidney situation before the season, and then Ricky Rubio, yeah. If he wouldn't have tore his ACL the way he did, I think the Cavs could have made a solid push last year. So adding, and I mean they got all the firepower you need with Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, and Karis LeVert. They got tons of firepower. Kevin Love can come off the bench any night in the playoffs and hit 5 quick threes. But they could be anybody that can play with anybody. And I know basketball is just one of those sports like you have to come to play today. So if things go right, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
I think they have the second best defense in the NBA right now. And that's a lot to do with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and how great they've been because, I mean, Darius Garland hasn't played a bunch, but you don't expect guys like Karis LeVert, Donovan Mitchell to be great defenders. But what Evan Mobley's able to do on that side of the ball, he's so versatile. He can do everything. He really plugs up a lot of holes for that team. And Jared Allen's one of the better paint protectors in the NBA as well. So,
Mars, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this comment?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm big on experience. I just don't think they have enough of it just yet to make a really, really deep push. And we're talking finals, you know what I mean? Like I think they can make it to the conference finals, but I don't think they'll win it.
Caleb, Donovan Mitchell, and Ricky Rubio all got some, substantial experience. Now it might not be enough, but I think they got a little experience in our locker room.
Yeah, for sure, but no championship aspirations at this point.
I mean, I see that.
It's the same with the Celtics, like they weren't going to win that finals, and Jason Tatum said it, and you see how they're like playing now, how they're looking, in general, they have that extra chip on their shoulder, like getting to the finals and like seeing that it's possible and like seeing what it takes in order to get over the hump. I think that's what's needed for them. Yeah,
you can see the difference in that finals when like the Warriors, when something would happen, like Klay and Draymond, like. Even now, when you watch them play, Klay and Draymond, they know, like Draymond knows where Klay's going. They know each other. They know where to put the ball. They know each other's, just mannerisms and habits or whatever. They know what each other are going to do, and they know what not to do in the big game. So I definitely agree with you on that. Like the Celtics weren't ready, and I could see the Cavs not being ready, but I do think that they're a contender as much as anybody in the East, except for maybe the Bucks.
JB Bickerstaff deserves his flowers as well. He's doing an excellent job coaching that team.
I don't think anyone's beating the Bucks. I want to talk about SGA bro, he is 6th in the NBA in scoring right now, averaging 30 and a half points per game. He's having a pretty comparable, what is it? Not leap. So Jaws 2 years ago to last season, the leap that he took, this is what I'm trying to say. Comparing the leap that SGA is taking is very comparable to Jaws' leap from last season. I think that he's like, I mean, if he keeps on this path, he is easily the most improved player in the NBA. And
gotta disagree, JD. He's been nasty,
bro. But that's what I'm saying. It's crazy because I didn't agree that Ja shouldn't have got the MIP because I thought that Ja was like that too.
Right.
But if you go and just look at his stats and the way how he improved on statistically, that's what they're kind of looking at, in that he made a jump in several categories. And so that's kind of what it is. It's not getting most improved isn't a knock on your game, you know?
Right.
So, but
I think they got to make a rule or something where, like, you know, you can't be like Josh shouldn't have been able to get that. You got to give it to somebody that's, you know, like kind of slept on. You know, they got to make a rule like that. Like, I know I'm sounding like Van Gundy when they make a whole bunch of different rules, but bro, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah, it is weird.
I mean, I kind of do agree with that. Because technically speaking, right, if you were somebody that wasn't in the MVP conversation, right, and then that next year you win MVP, like, isn't that the most that biggest improvement?
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like by default you should, like, if that's any criteria, then, you know, whatever. But we know what it is, man. It's all narrative. So I agree with Bobby, man. SGA been nice. You know, it's just super unfortunate that he's essentially on a, you know, development team.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate that he's on OKC, considering they got yoinked from Seattle. So I can't support that team. But yeah, man, it's fun to watch. It would be cool to see SGA get into like MVP conversations. On this MVP ladder, he's 10th. I feel that he's playing at a level that he should be a little bit higher, but being on OKC, I guess that is what it is.
Well, there was talks that Toronto was considering, you know, putting together a package for him. If he gets up there to Toronto, I think he could easily get in the MVP talk. As long as they keep Scotty, they have to keep Scotty.
Do you guys think he's one of the 5 best 2 guards in the league? Because I have him in the top 5, but I don't know how.
SGA?
Yeah.
Who's your 5?
Are we considering Paul George a 2?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm more about James Harden.
No, he's a point guard. Oh.
Okay, so we got Paul George, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, and then SGA and Zach LaVine would be my 4 and 5 in whichever order you want. And then 6, I guess, Bradley Beal, 7, Jaylen Brown. I don't know, but that's my top 5.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that SGA was a shooting guard.
Josh Giddey's the point guard.
Is he really? I thought that SGA was a point guard.
I mean, he handles the ball a lot, but
I mean, again, it doesn't really matter in today's game. Whatever. I knew he was a guard that could score. So
it doesn't bother you that he's on that team and like not getting anything done? Because they are, you know, I mean, young, of course, you know, I said the thing about experience, you know, that matters a lot to me, but they have a solid unit still, though. You know what I mean? Like, they have decent pieces, I want to say, you know, where they, you know, should be not underperforming the way that they are.
I mean, it was a couple years ago where SGA made another jump, like from 2020 with Chris Paul, and then the next year Chris Paul was gone. He took a jump. They were like slightly below 500 with him in the lineup, and then he got shut down for the rest of the year. So it's not like he can't play quote unquote winning basketball. OKC aren't trying to do that, but I think his game is so polished. I think you put him in the right situation. I think he's not a losing player. He's not someone who he gets a bunch of points, but he doesn't impact the team. I think the team plays so much better with him than without him. I think like his net swing is like 15 points or something like that, which means the team is 15 points better off per 100 possessions than without him, which is like a crazy impact, especially if you're not a team like OKC. They're also this season, I think they're like 500 with him in the team. He's played 8 games. I think they're 4-4. So it's not like he's playing losing basketball right now. OKC just aren't in a position to win, but you have a player like that who can get to the rim whenever he wants. The mid-range, he's one of, in my opinion, one of the better mid-range players in the league.
Mars,
his game seamlessly transitions to higher, better teams, in my opinion.
Mars, did you put him and Zach over Jaylen Brown?
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah, I hate that. I guess.
Cool,
but
cool.
Yo, Mars, if you were to move him, where would you have him? Like with who?
The best
Orlando.
The best situation for SGA, in my opinion. I mean, if you put him instead of Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland, I think they'd be very similar to what they are right now. I'm not saying he's better than Donovan Mitchell, but I think that fit would be damn near just as good. Plus, I think he has a higher defensive upside. But I think that type of situation where you have a great facilitating point guard and you have solid bigs, SGA as your best scorer, like I think that's a very good fit. Like Cleveland would be great. You put him next to a Ja Morant in Memphis, I think that's a solid fit. Maybe even on the Kings next to De'Aaron Fox, I think that's solid. Like there's a bunch of teams where I think if you just have another facilitating point guard, SGA is like a secondary playmaker, primary scorer, I think he'll be great.
Did you
speak that into existence, Mars?
Nobody going to goddamn Sacramento.
Bro, we need to maybe in 2 weeks. Would 2 weeks be a good time? Because I want to do this somewhat early in All-Star predictions. You know how we did that last year, where we predicted the All-Star lineups. I want to do that probably within the next 2 weeks because I'm very curious. Is SGA going to make that list?
It's tough. It's tough to be an all-star now.
Why? Because it's popularity contest?
The talent pool is so high.
Bro, Russ making the...
Yo, can we talk about that? Can we talk
Russ
about
getting
that?
the MVP chance.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's heat.
But the craziest thing to me is like how everybody was like, yo, Russ is done. You know what I mean? He's like out the league. He'd be lucky if like nobody would pick him up, basically. That's what people were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like a complete 180. It's like the nastiest, like people not even moonwalking back. It's just like, oh, I didn't say that. Like straight up lying, you know? It's insane, man.
Yeah. Bro, the MVP chats is hilarious.
That was crazy.
Bro, I'm here for it. I'll be the first one to say that I did not believe in Russ. Like I really thought that it was looking slow for him and that, you know, this might just be a down year for him. Like maybe he just doesn't have that much gas in the tank anymore. I don't know. So I will be the first one to admit that I definitely wasn't a believer but I hope that he is able to play at a high level still. It would be elite. Like that is the best fuck you to everyone if Russ just starts playing at an elite level again. Just shutting everyone up.
Can he get 6th man of the year?
If he stays on the bench, I don't see why not.
I don't know, man. The Lakers got to do better, I think, in general.
That's not happening. That's still trash.
Do you think they would give a 6th man of the year to somebody with a trash team?
Have they ever done it?
I don't know. I don't know.
To your point, to your opening agenda, Mars, when we switch to the basketball talk, it's about the winning now, right? You said that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, but I don't make the awards. The precedent for the awards is they care about winning. Like the MVP, it goes to normally a winning team. It's only recently with Jokic and Russ where like a below 3 seed wins the MVP. the voters care about winning, which is why, once again, I don't really care about the accolades, because they have weird criteria and people use the accolades to make arguments that the accolades shouldn't be used to make. But based on the criteria of the awards, if Sixth Man of the Year does care about winning, which I don't know if it does, I don't know the precedent. If it did, I don't think Russ has a chance because the Lakers are going to be terrible. But simply based off production and how well you're playing off the bench, I think he should be in that. I think he probably will end up in that conversation.
What does Russ finding his role? Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
I was just saying, who else is really competing for Sixth Man of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, it's too early to even say that, right? Of course, we can have some of the front runners of, last year, in conversation again, right now. But, I mean, you just have to wait and see. But what does Russ finding his role now with the Lakers and, making that adjustment, what does that do for the Lakers' plans, do you think? Are they like, oh, you know what, this is looking kind of nice. Now all we need is this and that, instead of like, you know what, we were on the train of get Russ out of here. We're still going to be on it.
I mean, I don't think no matter what they do, the team has a chance of a championship. I still think the team is probably better without Russ, A, because of the money it frees up, and B, because the great playmaking off the bench is nice, but your starting lineup is still very bad because the lack of floor spacing. Russell Westbrook doesn't solve that, which means you'd have to hope that you can win games with your second unit, which once again also isn't a great second unit when you have guys like Wenyen Gabriel playing high minutes, Matt Ryan being your best shooter. This whole overall depth of the squad isn't very good. Like, Russell Westbrook can have a great individual season, but the team isn't going to win with the team presently constructed. Even with Russ off the bench, I think they're 2-2 with Russ off the bench.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So somebody like that off the bench, right, with the offensive output that he's producing, you would need that. You would like that from any bench player. So do you now think the Lakers, not for 47 million?
Nah, that's not worth it. You're getting this from, if you got this from a regular 6-man 18 mil contract, something like that, then you could have built a correct team around it, because you would still have money to work with. When he's your highest paid player on the team and you have to bring him off the bench because he fits so poorly with the two best players on the team, it's not going to be great. But I think the Lakers, I said play in for them this season. I still think that's possible as long as LeBron James steps up, because he's been really bad by LeBron James standards this season.
Bro, that air ball was crazy.
From the logo?
Yo, that was great. No, what was it yesterday?
No.
2 days ago? Because it was from the wing.
That one.
Bro, that was great.
I thought you was talking about a couple of games ago that one went viral.
No,
like the first
I know
major
what you're talking about.
that he shot.
I think that one was against Portland. Yeah, that one was
that is what it is. He's shooting from 40 feet out, whatever. But that airball on the wing, like how badly he airballed it too, that was crazy, bro. I saw somebody retweet it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's done."
Is that what you think, JD?
Oh my gosh,
he needs to.
I don't think that Braun is like done. I think that. Well, I don't really know what I think. He looks like he's in phenomenal shape. And so I don't think that there might be a decline, sure, in his game, but like, what does that really look like for LeBron? He's still great, you know?
Yeah, I think his decline comes in the form of maybe not being able to just be,
dominant.
Like his 0 to 60 is now not 4.5 seconds. It's now like 6.8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like we're looking at the season, like maybe it just takes him a little bit longer to get into it. Did they make the playoffs last year? Were they playing in the playoffs last year?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Yeah. So in age, right? Like I feel like maybe that hurts him a little bit to have too much time off, more time that he's used to. And so his body gets more used to just chilling, like laying back. You see that a lot with like, guys that have injuries. We talked about this, a super long time ago. But we was talking about how, when somebody gets hurt and they, like an older player, and they have like a injury that really sits them down, like an Achilles or something like that, right? Then they'll just basically done because there's this callus that you've built up in your body, like this natural tension or whatever, where you can just go. But once you like kind of like relax and, you know, really have to sit down for a while, especially when you're getting older, you just, all of these knickknacks start to pick up and stuff like that. And you just never knew that you had all of these like little like injuries, or like not injuries, but these little like ouchies, that just the combination of everything. No, I'm telling you, like the combination of everything.
Ouchies.
I know they're gonna light me up in chat for that now because I said ouchies. I basically killed my whole point. But no, like older folks who have been athletes or whatever, they will understand what I'm saying, because trust me, man, that's the thing. I feel like to a degree that's what happened with Kobe.
Yeah, what I'm saying? Just lingering. Yeah,
because Kobe had a lot of wear and tear. You know what I'm saying? And then he had that Achilles injury or whatever. And of course he was still like doing his thing, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? Just like on the spot, like we expected from him.
Bro, do you think Bron's knees are going to be just like torched when he's in his 60s, 70s? 20 years is crazy.
I don't know. Maybe.
You know how Dirk came out and said that he retired like 2 or 3 years too late? And like his knees are just fried. I mean, granted,
but his knees were fried before.
Right. Might be a little different, but like 20 years, that putting that stress on your body for 20 years, insane. Bro, he's still averaging 24 points. Like, I'm looking at his stats right now. This is bananas. 20 years, and he has never not averaged 20 or more points.
I don't think LeBron's body will deteriorate the way that people think because of just the amount of money and time and effort he's putting into it. Yeah. You know, like he's probably the athlete of any sport that has done the most for his body and to his body in terms of like getting it right, you know, all year round. And so 20 years from now, I think
what about Brady?
Straight.
What about Brady? You think that
I don't know.
Kind of I don't either. I just imagine because he's been playing for so long.
Cristiano Ronaldo in there as well, but
Cristiano,
yeah, like he's kind of like LeBron-esque in how focused he is on health and looking after his body. For him, like they're like kind of crazy when they're trying to defeat Father Time. I think that's what LeBron's doing as well. But I think he's been catching him for a few years. I think you can just like if you watch him the last year in Cleveland, I think there's a steady decline. He's still he's been a top 5 player in the world for like even the past like 3 years in LA. He's still been a top 5 player, but there's a steady decline. I think he's less explosive. He's less athletic than he used to be. I think this year he's been finishing at the rim terribly for LeBron standards, but I think that'll balance itself out a bit more. I don't think he's going to be this bad, but he just looks a lot less explosive, but comes with time. So it's expected, but he's still one of the 15 best players in the world. But he used to be the unanimous number 1. So there's just a steady decline going on.
Right. Yeah, it is weird not having Bron in like that top 5 conversation.
I mean, most people still have him. Like, if you ask most LeBron stans, I mean, they've conceded Giannis because it's kind of hard to argue against Giannis at this point. But most like diehard LeBron fans, they will say, other than Giannis, LeBron is still the best player in the world. I don't know why they believe that, but they will say that.
That's heat. Hey, I'm here for it. Whatever. Speaking of Ronaldo, somebody on Footy like a couple weeks, it was either last week, 2 weeks ago, or 3. I don't know when it was, but someone said Cristiano looks MLS ready or something.
Yeah,
that was heat. Oh my god! All right, Mars,
that'd be fire though, man. I'd like to see him play
elite. Are you kidding me? If he came to the States to play in the MLS, every single game that he plays at might be sold out. I bet it would sell out.
It still wouldn't be better than whatever Zlatan did, though.
Bro, that guy's the goat.
Were you following that, Mars?
Well, when Zlatan was in the MLS, I mean, he came in his first game. He scored like 2 of the best goals I think the MLS has ever seen. Yeah. And then, like, Zlatan's a crazy guy, and now he's back at 41 playing in Europe. So
41 and he's playing. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, he went. Well, he was with who was it? Torino or Milan? Who did he join?
Milan. Yeah. So yeah, he's also fighting for overtime as well. So
all right, what's next?
Have you seen this quote, Mars? This is from Zach Lowe. And he said, this was like a week ago, I want to say. He said, was Draymond Green ever really a star in his own right? Or was he the beneficiary of playing alongside the two greatest shooters ever?
I haven't seen that quote, but it's a very common talking point with Draymond Green, because when you have low scoring players, they're so polarizing in terms of how people gauge their impact and their value that they don't often get seen as outright as good as they are. Like for me, it's a very common thing. Like Ben Wallace is very similar in terms of on the Detroit Pistons. In my opinion, I think he was either the best or the second best player on that team. You ask most people, they'll say Chauncey and Rip Hamilton were the two best players on the team, and Ben Wallace probably wasn't even better than Rasheed. No disrespect to Rasheed, but like people would have Ben Wallace as like the fourth best player simply because of his offensive output. I think Draymond Green falls in a similar tier where if you don't score a lot of points because most of the basketball community, most of them are very casual fans. That's not an insult to say that. That's just how it is. Most of them are very casual fans. So they will look at the points per game. They'll see Draymond Green averaging 6 points a game, Klay Thompson averaging 19, 20, Steph averaging 25, 30. And they'll be like, there's no way people are trying to argue that this guy is better than Klay Thompson. But for me, you look at how Draymond Green impacts that. The Golden State Warriors dynasty, quote unquote, is more of a defensive dynasty than an offensive one. If you look at how good our defense has been versus our offense is a lot more up and down. Besides the KD years and the 73 and 9, obviously those were elite on both sides of the ball. But if you look at us last year, our defense was number 1 or number 2, and our offense was like middle of the pack. 2015, I can't remember where we ranked. I'll check right now because I don't want to misquote ourselves. And even in 2021, the year we missed the playoffs because of the play-in, our offense was terrible and our defense was top 5, and that's why we were winning games. Draymond Green is the catalyst for all of that. He's our defensive anchor. He's the most impactful defender. He's the reason our defense has been so great. But people want to, I guess, move past it because he doesn't score a lot of points. He's also, in my opinion, at the very worst, the second best passer on our team. I'd maybe make the argument he's the best passer on the team. But he brings so much to the table where I think I'd argue Klay Thompson benefits more from Draymond Green than the reverse. Because Klay Thompson can't create his own shot to a very high level. Draymond Green is the one getting him the ball. Steph Curry is the one who's getting him the ball. He's more reliant on other people around him offensively than Draymond Green is relying on other people around him defensively. And that's where both their value comes from. Klay Thompson's was a very good perimeter defender. But the reason why he was able to be a very good perimeter defender is because when you have a guy like Draymond Green behind you, it's easier to be a very good perimeter defender. Drew Holiday is a very good perimeter defender, but he looks his best on defense when you have guys like Giannis and AD behind him. It doesn't make him a worse defender, but there's more valuable people behind him that makes his job easier. And I think when we look at who's dependent on who more, I'd argue Draymond Green, his job, his role, especially defensively, is able to carry or anchor a team and be less dependent on others than a Klay Thompson who is relying on other people to get him the ball to be effective. If Klay Thompson can't get someone to get him the ball, he's not going to provide you much value on offense because he can't create his own look.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that, or by that, Mars? What do you mean by that, Hart?
What do I mean,
Mars?
By which part?
Well, you said that that Klay can't create his own shot. So when you say that he needs somebody to give him the ball, if he's let's say that Klay is just a spot up shooter, so he's in the corner. Are you saying that if somebody drives and kicks the ball to him and he just catches and shoot, then like that's the only way he can score without dribbling the ball? Or what do you mean he can't create his own shot?
I'm saying to a very high, like you look at shot creators, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Those guys can create their own shot regardless of who's around them on the floor. They can get their shot off. They can get what they want on the floor. Klay Thompson is someone who's relying on those type of players to draw in the defense where he can then capitalize on what they provide for him, which is either getting him the ball, he's running off of screens where he can get open, find a bit of daylight, and then get the shot off, and he's going to make it because he's one of the best shooters of all time. But
okay, so if you were to
that type of role is very dependent on other people, like a JJ Redick.
Right.
He can average 18 points a game, but it's dependent on other people getting him the ball.
Right. Let's say we were to plug players in, right? So let's say that you were to plug another big man into Draymond's position. Now he has to be a willing passer. And then let's say you were to do the same with Klay. Plug somebody else in that's not much of a on the dribble scorer. Who is it easier to fill in for?
Klay Thompson.
So is Draymond?
It's much easier to find that than what Draymond Green provides, in my opinion.
Really? So is Draymond's passing ability predicated on the offensive movement, or is it him finding open players? Is it easy for somebody to make a simple? I see my train of thought is that any professional basketball player should be able to catch the ball in the high post and make a simple backdoor bounce pass. The reason those passes are open most of the time for Draymond Green is because you have Klay Thompson over here in the wing, and his man can't help. So is Klay Thompson's shooting ability actually making it easier for Draymond to pass wide open?
It's making it easier because Klay Thompson has that type of gravity where you're not helping off of Klay Thompson, which makes this floor more spaced out. But when I talk about Draymond's passing ability, it's not really the top of the key, find someone, or in the post, the split action where two defenders stay with Steph and you can find the rolling loony, who it usually is. Yeah. I'm talking about in transition where Draymond Green's pushing the tempo and he's finding cutters, he's finding guys spotting up. That's where he's excelling. In transition, Draymond Green is one of the best passers and playmakers in the NBA, in my opinion. And that's not predicated on Klay Thompson's floor spacing value, which he does have, because he does provide value outside of just him catching and shooting, because you don't help off of Klay Thompson by any stretch of the imagination, because if you do that, it's basically 3 points. So I'm not saying Klay Thompson's only value is shooting the ball, but I'm saying Klay Thompson's role and value is more predicated on other people providing for him, whereas Draymond Green, his defensive value is predicated on what he brings to the table, and his offensive value, playmaking and passing in transition, isn't really predicated on other people around him. In the half court, I would say his offensive game is dependent on other people. I will 100%
So then the question is, do you think Klay could actually do that though without those guys?
Do I think Klay Thompson would be
create his own shot?
No.
Yeah, what would his production be?
I think Klay Thompson, if you entrusted Klay Thompson with no Draymond Green, no Steph Curry to create his own shot, I think you're finding a guy who will take a lot of bad shots, will turn the ball over at a historic rate. His defense
at a historic rate. I believe that
so
Klay. So you said Klay Thompson's ability to play defense on the perimeter is predicated on having Draymond behind him.
No, not predicated, but it's enhanced. It's easier.
Okay, so has Klay's defensive ability ever? Not only Klay, but Andre Iguodala, Harrison Barnes, have those guys' defensive ability not helped Draymond?
It helps for sure, but I mean, you look at 2021, we didn't have great defensive pieces. It was. I'm not even going to use Kelly Oubre.
Once again, I think
great defensive pieces.
I think Andrew Wiggins is just as good, if not better.
Andrew Wiggins in 2021, he was a good defender. He wasn't a negative by any means, but he wasn't the 2022 Andrew Wiggins. He took a further jump. I think just getting used to how we wanted to play defense and how important Draymond Green was. I think he adjusted to that in 2022. But I think, Andrew Wiggins was a positive defender. Steph was a neutral, maybe slight positive. And then you've got Kelly Oubre, Looney, who wasn't great. Like, Draymond Green can anchor a great defense with or without elite pieces around him. Even in 2015, I'm not going to call Harrison Barnes elite. Klay Thompson wasn't an elite defender at that point, in my opinion. Steph was a liability in 2015. And Draymond Green and Bogut were still leading I think the best defense in the NBA.
What about Andre Iguodala?
Off the bench, Iggy was a good defender as well, for sure. I'm not saying you don't put a bunch of terrible defenders around Draymond Green and you get one of the best defense in the NBA. You put competent pieces and you have one of the best defenses, especially in the playoffs.
So in 2015, who was a better defender, Andre Iguodala or Draymond Green?
Iggy.
Draymond Green, in my opinion. Draymond Green,
this is what I'm trying to get to, Morris. I'm not sold on this Draymond Green being the defensive stopper narrative.
Why would it be Iggy?
No, he didn't say he's a defensive stopper, though.
I said he's the best defensive player on the team, but why would Iggy be?
Yeah, you could be the best defender. You could be the best defender on the team and not be the defensive stopper.
Because Iggy was more responsible for point of attack perimeters, wing defense, but Draymond Green, in terms of anchoring the whole defense, his rotations, his backline defense, his pick and roll coverages, he was still the best defender on the team, in my opinion. And even those numbers that people like to go to, which is Iggy guarding LeBron in the finals, I don't know where ESPN got those numbers from, but we were in the Discord a couple months ago we watched every single possession LeBron James had being guarded by Iguodala, and LeBron shot like 50% in those possessions, 50 or 45%, something like that. And he actually shot worse when Draymond Green was guarding him. So I don't know where the stats came from. I don't know how ESPN got those stats. I don't know how they track it, but most people in the Discord will vouch because we watched every single possession LeBron James had guarded by Iggy. I think he was like 9 for 20 or 10 for 20 the whole series being guarded by Iguodala. And then he had like 6 turnovers or 7 turnovers. So the turnovers, that's fine. But Draymond Green, technically, you could argue, slowed down LeBron James more than Iguodala, which is another point as to why I don't think Iggy deserved that Finals MVP. But for me, the whole point was Klay Thompson's role and his value is more predicated on other people than Draymond Green's is, which is why I don't agree with what Zach Close said, because I think it's just wrong.
Can I ask y'all a question about that?
Can I ask y'all a question about like playmaking and whatnot? Like, is it really? I mean, it's definitely both people. The person that passes and the person that receives the ball, but isn't playmaking a lot to do with like moving without the ball? Like, are there, for instance, like when J Kidd was that first year when they won the championship with the Mavs, at the beginning of the season, it seemed like J Kidd was throwing a lot of turnovers to where guys weren't, and it seemed like as the season progressed, people start being where the ball was going because J Kidd was putting the ball where they're supposed to be. Like, no, cut here, go to the corner here, do this, do that. Whereas a lot of teams, they don't have much movement. And I'm wondering, like, just want to get y'all opinion on that. Like, do you think like a lot of quote unquote playmakers maybe are just passing the wide open cutters because their teammates actually moving without the ball? And that's no knock because that's good basketball. You're supposed to cut and move without the ball, as opposed to where you might have some teams that they're just kind of standing on the perimeter and not much movement. So the playmakers don't really have the ability to pass the ball because it's hard to pass somebody open. You have to actually move without the ball.
I think it goes both ways. I think guys like Jason Kidd, you look at what he was doing in New Jersey. If you're that aggressive in transition and you're that willing to find cutters, people are thinking, okay, I can get easy looks if I just make this cut because he's going to find me. So you become a more willing mover off the ball if you think you're going to get the ball. If like, for example, Jokic is like the king of this. People in Denver cut all the time because they know Jokic is looking to find them. Right. If you have a passer who's not willing to make those reads when you do make those cuts, you're less likely to want to make those cuts because you're thinking, why would I cut if he's not going to find me anyway? So you're less willing to do that. Like in Golden State, Steph Curry, to me, one of the best off-ball movers of all time. Klay Thompson is moving great off the ball as well. It makes Draymond Green's life easier because those guys are so willing to move. But also, if Draymond Green wasn't willing or able to make those passes, they wouldn't move as freely off the ball. It goes part and parcel. You need both things to work. Draymond Green wouldn't be able to make those passes if those guys didn't move. But those guys wouldn't move if Draymond Green couldn't make those passes. So it's just, you have to find a balance between who you're valuing that to more, which is where it becomes a nuanced conversation.
Bobby, why did you say that Manu Ginobili is the top 5 shooting guard of all time?
Because I wholeheartedly believe that.
Oh my gosh.
I think he's one of those players that Mars was talking about earlier. Like, he just happened to be on a good team, so people downplay his greatness because he played with the best power forward of all time. No disrespect.
Isn't that what you just did with Draymond?
No, it's not. I didn't say that. I said it's Draymond Green's passing ability hype because I think that any professional basketball player should be able to make those simple bounce passes. That's what I was saying. I think that, and plus I don't think that Draymond would be successful with any other organization. Maybe, well, there's a few. Let me not say that because Draymond Green's a pro. I think if he weren't with Golden State, he'd have to be playing in San Antonio or Miami, but that's just my humble opinion. But yeah, I think I just got Manu. I watched his whole NBA career at least, and the things I saw him do, I don't know, man. And once again, I've been wrong hundreds of thousands of times. So by all means, if y'all don't got Manu in your top 10, that's cool. But I got right there. I got Manu. I mean, I think he proved it. I think he proved it. Like he got at everybody.
Bro,
Who did Manu not get at?
I'm kind of here for it because I like Manu and I agree that he sometimes gets overlooked. And
Manu didn't have to play for the Spurs. Like he could, if he would have went somewhere else. Now I just wish that Manu would have got, maybe those early years somewhere else, or just so that people could really see, or stop using Tim Duncan as an excuse to not show Manu love.
Bro, also, Ron said, and you checked him on this, but Ron said that Manu Ginobili, so he made the Euro step, like he popularized it. And I agree. I think that he was kind of the guy that's like, oh, like this move. I need to do this. But he was saying that they were literally calling it when like they're playing, when Ron's playing, they were
Manu
saying he just did the Manu. You just got Manu'd. I'm like, no
yeah. That was big when I was younger too.
No one said that.
Everybody did where I was at in California. That's what we said.
Bro, that is hilarious.
We said Manu every time.
And I lived in the gym in the Manu era, so I thought that was funny.
And once again, too, like we talked about before. I can flip flop with Manu and Clyde. I'm fine with Clyde being number 4.
I do think Manu's underrated. I have him in my top 10, but
I agree, Mars.
I can't get him in
top
the
10 for sure.
But he can be top 10, and he could be underrated also.
He could be top 5.
I do think he's ridiculously underrated.
But
that comes from a lot of people just look like I said with the accolade argument. They just look at what he did. They look at his basketball reference. They see 2 All-Stars and 2 All-NBAs, and they're like, "How is this guy really that good?" But if you just watched him play, you would
on top of that, when people say, "Oh, no Manu," it's like, okay, you could bring up Iverson, instead. I'm cool with that. But I'm not finna do the James Harden thing. I'm not.
This is where Bobby loses me.
That's just not it for me. I can't get on that train.
Yeah,
you just not messing with James Harden.
Bro, you and Ron hate.
I refuse to buy those tickets. Like, I don't care. I'm not buying those tickets. They could be $3.99. I'm not buying that.
Oh my gosh, bro. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I am exhausted. I am out of it. I am mentally drained. So unless you guys want to talk about anything else,
can we talk about De'Aaron Fox real quick? And
please do.
And how he's gonna be in the All-Star game?
Go ahead.
Also, we so our record doesn't show it, right? But we had a lot of close games. We lost to Miami when Jimmy wasn't playing, but neither was De'Aaron. Tyler hit a very big shot. We lost that one, a close one. We lost the close in Portland game without Keegan Murray. The only game that we weren't really in was the Memphis game. Bro, well, I'm telling you, watch out for us. Watch out.
No. Yo, I got a question for you though. De'Aaron Fox, do you think he's obviously he's one of the fastest ever, right? Would you agree with that?
I would, yes.
Do you think he is the fastest? Who do you think is the fastest player ever, if not him?
So, I mean, there was John Wall back when he was, getting started.
AI's gonna be up there, right?
AI, and I mean, so we talking about like just end to end, or I mean full sprint. I mean, because Braun was super fast too. There's been a lot of fast guards, but I think De'Aaron might be the fastest, bro. I really do.
Because I'm looking at Monte Ellis, bro.
Oh, Monte was. I think De'Aaron.
His nickname was the Mississippi Bullet. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, you see how De'Aaron gets up that court, bro. I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, I think De'Aaron might be the fastest I've ever seen.
I see D Rose was in there too in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of D Roses.
Yeah. Watch because
I don't know if D Rose is faster than Russ. Like prime Russ was. Crazy.
Oh yeah, Russ too. Russ. I don't know.
I don't think John Wall is high on the list, to be honest. I think.
No, you don't think so?
I mean, he let's say let him be 5th or something like that, but like I don't think he's faster than De'Aaron Fox. I don't think he's faster than Monte Ellis.
Are we talking with the ball or just like running
with the ball? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the ball. Yeah, I think
this is where John Wall makes up a lot of ground because I think with the ball, like he is, faster than what he actually is without the ball. I'm talking about if he's like in a foot race with
right
De'Aaron Fox or whatever. Like De'Aaron Fox will, will dust him if there's no ball involved. But with the ball, I think John Wall has a much better chance.
Yeah, because I think John Wall is faster than LeBron with the ball, like just in transition with the ball coast to coast. But I think off the ball, I think LeBron James just is probably one of the fastest players we've ever seen. So I think it goes into that.
Bro, it's scary when someone's able to dribble the ball up the court so fast that it's almost better than passing it up the court. Like it's going to make it there faster. Like that's crazy.
I think Penny is up there too.
In terms of speed?
Yeah, speed with the ball.
Yeah. Penny's just slept on all around, slept on. Speed, ability, everything.
Mm.
All right, fellas. Oh, I'm going to go take a nap on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I have a bunch of stuff to do. So, yippee, wahoo. Yo, thank y'all for tapping in today, man. Thank you for everyone who came up here and joined Player's Choice today. Mars, do you have any final words?
I pushed all my agendas.
Bobby.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say that if there's anything out there that you want to do, just do it now, because like Napoleon Hill says, don't wait. The time will never be just right.
Fire, Bobby.
Fire.
Euro.
Yeah, man. I mean, I said it in the middle of our conversation of the pod, but you know, I kind of want to reiterate. I really appreciate everybody. You know, people in the chat, the viewers, the listeners, everybody who subscribed, man. You know, I think it's always dope to, you know, obviously talk basketball and stuff like that, but, you know, basketball is just one facet of life. You know, obviously that's our common denominator. That's how we come together. But when life, you know, really makes itself, you know, felt within that space, I think it's dope for us to be, you know, having these conversations too. So I want to, you know, thank everybody to have, you know, that shared these opinions that they have. And yeah, man, be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Moving
Spread
forward.
love today.
Yeah, spread love, man.
And like Del says, love is love. Make
Go
sure y'all
vote.
Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Go vote. Thank you, Bobby. And yeah, man, enjoy the rest of your weekend, the little bit that we have of it, but make it the greatest Sunday that you've ever had, man. All right, y'all. We will catch you on Wednesday. Peace out.